Chapter 1496. Dao Lord Ning, I have a locale ball to the witch clan. Should I lead the way or? Chang Xiang said respectfully as soon as he came out of the Grand Essence Realm's defense array. Chang Xiang's meaning was that if Ning Cheng took him away, then their speed would definitely be a lot faster. At the very least, he had invited Ning Cheng to be his guest. Naturally, he could not ask Ning Cheng to take him away. Shi Qianghua, Lu Fei and the others decided to stay in the Grand Essence Realm. Since the Grand Essence Realm's heaven and earth laws had just been restored, staying in the Grand Essence Realm to cultivate was naturally the best choice. What's more, the Grand Essence Realm's Boundary Protection Grand Array had already been set up, and the array heart of the Boundary Protection Grand Array was refined from the heaven-opening Mother Iron. Furthermore, Kong Zai, Shin Yun Aoken, Xiao Xinxi, and a few other third-step experts were protecting him. Even if Qin Mutian came, it would not be easy to open it in a short time. If he had the time, he would have already received the news and returned. Taking a step back, how many people in the entire universe were as ruthless as Qin Mutian? Because of this, Ning Cheng felt relieved to let Shi Qianghua and the others stay in the Grand Essence Realm to cultivate. It's not that he didn't think about building a channel between his realm and the Grand Essence Realm. But Shi Qianghua rejected the idea as soon as it was put forward. Although Shi Qianghua had lost her cultivation, she was only a step away from reaching the third step. She naturally knew that Ning City's domain was not yet stable, and it was not a good thing to establish a void passage between their own domain and the outside world. Not only would it make his own realm more unstable, but it would also be very dangerous when he teleported across the void. Taoist Chang Xiang, there's no hurry to go to the witch tribe. I have something more important to do. Ning Cheng said. If you want to go there, I don't have much to do. I'm willing to accompany you. Chang Xiang hurriedly said. His main task was to bring an expert like Ning Cheng back to the witch tribe as a guest and build a good relationship with Ning Cheng. Why were the wizard tribe chased away like drowning dogs? Was the sorcerer tribe weak? Definitely not. Back then, the sorcerer tribe had countless experts. Even if they did not cultivate their spiritual force, they were still one of the strongest tribes in the entire universe. The most important reason why the witch tribe had fallen to such a state was that they had no friends. If the sorcerer tribe had had the help of their friends back then, the sorcerer tribe would not have fallen to this state. After leaving the sorcerer tribe for countless years, Chang Xiang understood this principle better than anyone else in the tribe. In the past, people from the sorcerer tribe had looked down on those who cultivated their divine will. Now, the sorcerer tribe had also begun to cultivate their divine will. The place I'm going to is called the Blackwater World. I'm going there to find someone. Ning Cheng did not hide anything. There would be a life-and-death battle between him and Xing Shi sooner or later. Although he had fused with the primordial Dao runes, Xing Shi would definitely be able to obtain them and fuse with them. After that, it was hard to say who was stronger and who was weaker. Xing Shi's fatal weakness was that the green lotus of good fortune had yet to be perfected. Now that he was free, he naturally wanted to take this opportunity to take the green lotus of good fortune from Chu Wujin. Having another card in his hand was always a good thing. Dao Lord Ning, I've heard of the Blackwater World. I'll accompany you there. Chang Xiang was indeed a person who had seen the world in the void. As soon as Ning Cheng mentioned the Blackwater World, he immediately understood. Ning Cheng brought out the Starry Sky Wheel and said, in that case, come on up. After Chang Xiang boarded the Starry Sky Wheel, the Starry Sky Wheel cut through the void and disappeared from the periphery of the Grand Essence Realm. Ning Cheng feared that he couldn't find the Blackwater World because his strength was too low. At this time, Ning Cheng had reached the third step through cutting Dao creation, and then used the primordial Dao runes to merge with the world. His strength had already reached the peak of this universe. Although the Blackwater World was hidden, he no longer needed Xiao Xinxi to lead the way. With his spiritual consciousness, he could directly pass through several positional planes and find traces of the Blackwater World's movement. Then he could directly chase after it. A few days later, Ning Cheng and Chang Xiang stopped. In front of them was a void filled with rolling black mist. The two waited for less than an incense stick worth of time before a huge black planet quickly appeared in the range of their spiritual consciousness. Chang Xiang stood up and prepared to follow Ning Qing into the Blackwater world. Although the black water in the Blackwater world was highly toxic and had a terrifying spatial compression. But with Chang Xiang's cultivation, he didn't care about these things. When the huge black planet quickly passed by in front of the two, Ning Qing still didn't move. Chang Xiang looked at Ning Qing with some doubt and asked, "Tao Lord Ning, we just passed by the Blackwater planet." Ning Qing nodded and said with a solemn tone, "I know, but we don't have to go now. Let's go to the Witch Clan now." "Okay, I'll show the way," Chang Xiang said with joy. For him, the Blackwater world was just an accompaniment for Ning Qing. If Ning Qing didn't want to delay, then he wouldn't have any objections. Ning Qing indeed didn't want to delay. When his spiritual consciousness fell on the Blackwater world's planet, he knew that Chu Wujian wasn't there. Chu Wujian had a fragment of the good fortune azure lotus, but he didn't stay in the Blackwater world. The biggest possibility was that Xing Shi had found Chu Wujian. Ning Qing had seen Chu Wujian's strength and knew that he was quite strong. But compared to Xing Shi, Chu Wujian still fell far short. Moreover, after Xing Shi merged with the primordial Tao runes to merge with the world, the gap would only worsen. From the bottom of his heart, Ning Qing didn't want Xing Shi to find Chu Wujian. If it was as he guessed and Xing Shi found Chu Wujian, it meant that Xing Shi's good fortune azure lotus was about to be perfected. Once the good fortune azure lotus was perfected, the gate of good fortune would open. The reason why the gate of good fortune hadn't opened yet was that Xing Shi deliberately didn't perfect the azure lotus. She was waiting for an opportunity to control the opening of the gate of good fortune. It would be best if Chu Wujian found another way to hide the aura of the good fortune azure lotus and leave the Blackwater world. Ning Qing also knew that this was just his wishful thinking. "Tao Lord Ning, if I came back by myself, it would take at least a few years." When Ning Qing brought Chang Xiang to the outside of the witch realm in just a month, Chang Xiang couldn't help but speak up. He was sure that if Ning Qing hadn't brought him along, they would have arrived in the witch realm in a shorter time. If Ning Qing hadn't brought Chang Xiang along, he would have torn the void by himself and would have arrived in just a few days. If he left the witch realm and returned to the Grand Essence realm, he would have taken even less time by tearing the domain's plane. Tao friend Chang Xiang has amazing potential. You've just started cultivating spiritual sense. In the future, Tao friend Chang Xiang will definitely be able to do the same. Ning Qing spoke modestly. His spiritual consciousness had been observing the surroundings of the witch realm. The witch realm could be said to be at the edge of the five-element universe. Beyond that was a dark void without any rules. One couldn't cultivate in such a place. Even if there were some planets, it was uninhabitable. It was no wonder that Chang Xiang was so eager to return to the center of the universe. The witch clan was struggling at the edge of the realm, which greatly limited their development. "Tao Lord Ning, I'll take you to the divine Magus Palace to see the witch realm's ancestor emperor." While speaking, Chang Xiang had already stepped into the witch realm with Ning Qing. "Chang, who is he?" As soon as Ning Qing and Chang Xiang stepped into the witch realm, a person landed in front of them. Chang Xiang quickly said, "Xian Ping, this is Tao Lord Ning Qing from the Grand Essence realm. He's a guest that I specially invited. Don't be rude." Then, Chang Xiang introduced Xian Ping to Ning Qing. "Tao Lord Ning Qing, Xian Ping is a general under the witch realm's ancestor emperor. Because I don't know you, I'm a little rude. Please forgive me." Hearing Chang Xiang's respect for Ning Qing, Xian Ping frowned. He knew Chang Xiang's pride because he was the only witch clan member who had gone out to see the world and participated in the first battle of the Gate of Good Fortune. Therefore, Chang Xiang had the right to be proud. Who was this Tao Lord Ning Qing? What kind of small place was the Grand Essence realm? Why did Chang Xiang treat him with such respect and even bring him to see the ancestor emperor? "Chang Xiang, I'm afraid it's against the rules for you to bring a stranger to the ancestor emperor." Xian Ping didn't step aside because of Chang Xiang's words. He even changed the way he addressed Chang Xiang to his full name. Clearly, Chang Xiang was very polite to such a young guy, which made him very dissatisfied. Moreover, Ning Qing's strength made him a little afraid. Before figuring out the origin of such an expert, he absolutely couldn't go to the ancestor emperor. Chang Xiang's face sank. Xianping really didn't give him any face. Did he think it was easy for him to invite Dao Lord Ningqing? Brother Xian, Brother Changxiang, who is this? Just as the two were in a deadlock, a clear voice sounded. Chapter 1497. Hui, you're here at the right time? Changxiang smiled when he saw the woman. Just like him, Ji Hui had seen the outside world of the shaman tribe. Although her cultivation level was not as high as Xianping's, she was much more knowledgeable. If Ji Hui was here, she would definitely be on his side. Ningqing had heard about Ji Hui from Changxiang. Yu Qing had escaped from Xing Shi's cave abode because of Ji Hui. Now that he heard Changxiang call her Hui, he immediately asked, Taoist Changxiang, is she Ji Hui? Xing Shi brought her to the heaven-suppressing pillar? Changxiang quickly replied, yes, she is Ji Hui, the descendant of ancestor Ji. Brother Changxiang, what's going on? Ji Hui looked at Changxiang and Xianping in confusion before looking at Ningqing. After saying this, Ji Hui's expression also became a little grave. She had been with Xing Shi for a long time and could feel that Ningqing was very powerful. He might even be stronger than Brother Changxiang. Where did Brother Changxiang find such an expert? Hey, Changxiang brought an unfamiliar cultivator to see the ancestor emperor, but I stopped him. This doesn't conform to the rules at all. If anyone can meet the ancestor emperor, then wouldn't our sorcerer tribe become a low-level market? Xianping did not give him any face at all. There was still a trace of anger in his words. Ji Hui frowned slightly. Brother Changxiang, this is indeed against the rules. Changxiang did not expect Ji Hui to say the same. He immediately said angrily, Hui, why do you say that? Don't you know that the witch tribe hides in a corner? Besides potential, we also lack friends? Dao Lord Ningqing is a friend I invited. Don't be so suspicious of friends. Ji Hui slowed down and said, Brother Changxiang, I know you're right. But have you forgotten the two people who came to the witch realm? They said they were friends of the witch tribe when they came, but what happened? Changxiang snorted and said, that Yi Zifeng looks like a cunning person. How can he compare to Dao Lord Ning? I've been to Dao Lord Ning's realm and he was very polite to me. Now that I've invited Dao Lord Ning to my witch tribe as a guest, your suspicions are really disappointing and a joke to our guests. Under Changxiang's anger, these words were directly spoken out in front of Ningqing. Ningqing waved his hand, motioning Changxiang not to get angry. He then cupped his fists towards Ji Hui and said, Dao friend Hui, I heard from Dao friend Changxiang that Xing Shi plotted against you, and you ended up sacrificing yourself to the heaven-suppressing pillar. Without waiting for Ningqing to finish, Ji Hui spoke up, that's right. Xing Shi did send me to the heaven-suppressing pillar as a sacrifice. However, it wasn't an ambush. I wasn't her match at all, and she easily took me away. Ningqing had to ask again, I heard that you came out because of a woman called Yu Qing. I would like to ask where Yu Qing is now? Do you want to see Ancestor Emperor or Yu Qing? Ji Hui was only a little vigilant towards Ningqing, but when she heard Ningqing mention Yu Qing, her expression no longer remained vigilant, but turned into one of intense wariness. Ningqing said politely, Yu Qing and I are friends, and I came here mainly to see her. At the same time, I am also very grateful for Dao friend Changxiang's enthusiasm. I want to become friends with the witch race, so I also want to meet Ancestor Emperor Witch. Changxiang wanted Ningqing to become a friend of the witch race. Ningqing said this to express his friendship, and also to achieve his goal of meeting Ancestor Emperor Witch race in a tactful way. Ji Hui glanced at Changxiang with some dissatisfaction before saying to Ningqing, Dao friend Ning, I'm afraid it won't go as you wish. Sister Qing is now in seclusion, and she won't see anyone. If it weren't for Yu Qing, Ji Hui wouldn't have been able to restore her body. She might still be chained to the heaven-suppressing pillar by Xing Shi. Moreover, she knew from Yu Qing that Yu Qing didn't have any relatives who were as powerful as Ningqing. There should only be one reason why Dao Lord Ning came to see Yu Qing, and that was because he heard about Yu Qing's beauty. Then, he used his strength to befriend Ancestor Witch and take Yu Qing as his dual cultivation Dao companion. Ningqing looked at Changxiang. If it weren't for Chang Xiang, his spiritual consciousness would have directly penetrated all the restrictions of the witch race that blocked spiritual consciousness. Sha Sun is here to see Dao friend Hong. Chang Xiang was just about to speak when a deep voice came over. Everyone present heard it clearly. After hearing this voice, whether it was Xian Ping, Chang Xiang, or Ji He, they all revealed cautious expressions. Then, Xian Ping said to Chang Xiang, "I'll report to Ancestor Emperor. You go and stop this person." Ji He stopped Xian Ping. "There's no need to report. This person's voice can probably be heard by the entire witch world. Ancestor Emperor will naturally know." Ning Qing didn't speak. He was just wondering what this Sha Sun had to do with the fat monk he killed in the chaotic inner realm. In fact, even before Sha Sun spoke, Ning Qing already knew that this person had come. He also knew that this person's Dao charm aura was somewhat similar to that of the fat monk. "Xian Ping, Chang Xiang, you two come with me to see Dao friend Sha Sun." An extremely old man's voice fell. "Grandfather?" Ji He quickly stepped forward when she saw this old man. The old man nodded to Ning Qing before smiling at Ji He. "Hey, this Dao friend is a guest from afar. Take him to the guest hall to have a seat." "Yes." Ji He didn't dare to slack off in front of this old man and quickly responded. Before Chang Xiang left, he said to Ning Qing, "Dao Lord Ning, this is my witch race's ancestor Ji. We're going to see Dao friend Sha Sun. We'll be back in a while. Dao friend Ning, please forgive us." Ning Qing smiled. "It's fine. Dao friend Chang Xiang, please go ahead." He could guess that this Seisin who spoke had an extraordinary background. Otherwise, Chang Xiang wouldn't have left him alone to see Sha Sun since he was a guest specially invited by Chang Xiang. One had to know that Chang Xiang knew that he had fought against the mysterious yellow holy master and even had the mysterious yellow bead. This Sha Sun's aura was similar to that of the fat monk. It was very likely that he was someone from the Western universe. "Dao friend Ning, please." Ji He made a guiding gesture to Ning Qing. Her tone was flat without much enthusiasm. Apparently, she was doing this because of Ancestor Ji's instructions. Ning Qing didn't care and just asked, "Who is this Sha Sun?" Ji He didn't hide anything from Ning Qing and said indifferently, "I don't know. I only know that he's from the Western universe." "Now you can say it. Why are you looking for Sister Qing? If you have other ideas, please leave my witch race as soon as possible. Although my witch race lives in a remote corner, it's not a place that anyone can bully. You won't believe what I say. You just have to call Yu Qing to meet me or take me to see her. She'll naturally tell you who I am." With Ji He's attitude, Ning Qing knew that no matter how much he tried to explain, it would be useless. Ji He didn't even bother to reply to Ning Qing and just walked ahead. Ning Qing felt helpless. Yu Qing was indebted to the witch race. He couldn't just fight his way in, right? He could only wait for Chang Xiang to come back and explain to her. After half an incense stick's time, Ji He brought Ning Qing to a guest hall. She then poured Ning Qing a cup of spirit tea and sat on the side, staring at Ning Qing. Although she was accompanying him in name, she was actually monitoring him. Ning Qing wasn't in a hurry. Since he had come to the witch race, he would eventually be able to see Yu Qing. If the witch race really wanted to stop him from seeing Yu Qing, he could only use force. Another incense stick's time passed, but there was still no news of Chang Xiang. Ning Qing stood up. Before he could say anything, Ji He also stood up. "Dao friend Ning, are you leaving? Let me send you out." Ning Qing frowned. Before he could speak, another clear voice came. "Xing, she is here to look for someone. Please come out and meet her, Dao friend Hong." Kai. Ning Qing clenched his fists together, producing a burst of Dao charm sounds. This was really wearing out iron shoes in fruitless search, but this woman came looking for him. He didn't even need to ask to know why Xing Shi was here. It was 100% for Yu Qing. Apart from that, she also wanted to take Yu Qing away to threaten him. Sure enough, after Ji He heard Xing Shi's name, her face suddenly turned pale. She even forgot to stop Ning Qing from leaving. Sacred Lord Green Lotus, the witch race's ancestral emperor, is at the Divine Magus Palace. Please follow me. A witch race woman had already come out to greet her. Although Xing Shi had captured Ji Hui as a sacrifice to the heaven-suppressing pillar, the witch race still didn't dare to offend this woman. This woman was too strong, so strong that she could fight against the entire witch race alone. Xing Shi's face was cold. She stepped on the green lotus petal and said expressionlessly, "In that case, lead the way." "Dao friend Ning, please wait." Ji Hui finally reacted and hurriedly stopped Ning Cheng, who had already walked to the door. Ning Cheng stopped. Ji Hui was indeed rescued by Yu Qing, but Yu Qing was also rescued by Ji Hui. Moreover, he didn't want to make things difficult for the witch race. If Ji Hui was willing to lead the way, he wouldn't have to break into the divine Magus Palace by himself. That would be for the best. "Are you really Sister Qing's friend?" To Ning Cheng's surprise, Ji Hui asked a question that had nothing to do with Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng nodded and said with certainty, "That's right, I'm really Yu Qing's friend. If you don't believe me, you can take me to see Yu Qing." "I believe you. Let's go, I'll take you to see Sister Qing. Hurry up and follow me." With that, Ji Hui had already walked far away. Others might not know how powerful Xing Shi was, but she knew all too well. Even the #1 expert of the witch race, Ancestor Di Hong, might not be a match for Xing Shi. Now that Xing Shi had come to the witch race, she must be looking for her and Yu Qing. This Dao Lord Ning in front of her did not look weak. If he really knew Sister Qing, she would let him secretly take Yu Qing out of the witch race. Otherwise, the witch race would definitely hand Yu Qing over. Once they did, Yu Qing would suffer a fate worse than death. This was the reason why Ji Hui changed her mind at the last minute and wanted to take Ning Cheng to see Yu Qing. Chapter 1498. Holy Lord Green Lotus, please. Before Xing Shi reached the entrance of the divine Magus Palace, Ancestor Ji came out to welcome her. The green lotus under Xing Shi's feet turned into a green mist and circled around her. Then, she casually stepped into the divine Magus Palace. Ancestor Ji's expression didn't change, but he was overjoyed. No matter how strong Xing Shi was, the divine Magus Palace wasn't a place she could casually enter and exit. "Holy Lord Green Lotus, it's our honor to have you graced us with your presence." A middle-aged man greeted her with a bright voice. This middle-aged man's black hair was tied to his shoulders, and his aura was solid. He was like a huge mountain, giving off a steady aura. Xing Shi stopped, glanced at this middle-aged man, and said blandly, "You must be the ancestor of the divine Magus Di Hong, right? You live up to your reputation." The middle-aged man laughed. "Compared to Sacred Lord Green Lotus, my reputation is far inferior. It's not even worth mentioning." Xing Shi sneered. How could she not understand what Hong was implying? The Sacred Lord Green Lotus that Hong was talking about might not necessarily be her. There was a hidden meaning in his words, and it was full of sarcasm. Xing Shi said blandly, "Thank you, Ancestor Hong, for thinking highly of me. My strength is nothing in the divine Magus Palace. I heard that the divine Magus Palace is one of the 3 supreme treasures of the divine Magus Palace. I hope Ancestor Hong won't hide it from me and show it to me." After saying that, Xing Shi walked past Hong Zhu to the seat of honor in the hall and was about to sit down. Ancestor Di Hong and Ancestor Ji's faces turned ugly when they heard what Xing Shi said. They thought that Xing Shi entering the divine Magus Palace meant that the divine Magus Palace had a weakness. They didn't expect that she knew what this place was and walked in without hesitation. She clearly didn't take the divine Magus Palace seriously. In the divine Magus Palace, a few powerful Wu clan warriors stood up as well. A monk, who was wearing a huge string of prayer beads on his chest, saw Xing Shi walking in, and his eyes instantly shone. He stood up as well, walked towards Xing Shi, cupped his hands and said, "Greetings, goddess. Sha Sun, may I know your name?" He had come for Yu Qing, but he didn't expect to see a woman who didn't look any weaker than Yu Qing. This woman was simply perfect. If she and Yu Qing were to be brought back, then Saisen was even imagining how others would envy him. At this moment, he just wanted to laugh out loud. What Sacred Lord Green Lotus? It wasn't like Sha Sun hadn't seen Sacred Lord Green Lotus before. "Are you a disciple of the Western Cosmos Holy Buddha Chupu?" If an ordinary person dared to look at her like this, Xing Shi would have already blasted him with a green lotus Tao radiance. However, she did not dare to offend the Western Universe's sage Buddha Chu Pu. Seisin hurriedly said, "That's right, I'm the fourth under the Holy Buddha." Xing Shi nodded. "So it's a revered person beneath the Holy Buddha. I've heard a lot about you." While speaking, Xing Shi waved her hand, and a terrifying Dao rune pressure surged towards Sha Sun. Just as Seisin was about to speak again, he felt a terrifying aura suppressing him, making it difficult for him to even breathe. In the blink of an eye, Xing Shi had already walked to her seat and sat down. Seisin sucked in a breath of cold air. This woman was too powerful. He was sure that he was no match for this woman. If the two of them fought, he would definitely pay a heavy price. Given his current strength, it would be too difficult for him to reach the height of this woman in front of him. The reason this woman had made him retreat was not because she was afraid of Seisin, but because of the Western Buddha behind him. At this thought, Seisin's expression changed a few times before he sat down silently. Forget it. With this woman called Yu Qing around, this trip was not in vain. This scene had happened in a very short time, but everyone who could sit there was a supremacy expert of the witch race. Ancestor Di Hong and Ancestor Ji had clearly seen the action between Seisin and Xing Shi, and the corners of their mouths twitched. Even an arrogant fella like Seisin did not dare speak nonsense in front of this woman. Yu Qing is far inferior to her. Ancestor Ji sent a voice transmission to Ancestor Di Hong somewhat dispiritedly. The witch race had always treated Yu Qing kindly. Apart from being Ji He's savior, the most important thing was Yu Qing's strength. After Yu Qing had attained the third step, they had always thought that she would not be much weaker than Xing Shi, who had taken away he. Now, it seemed like they had been wishful thinking. Yu Qing's strength and Xing Shi's were not on the same level at all. Ancestor Di Hong's heart sank. If he could not protect Yu Qing, he would do everything he could to protect he. Xing Shi's strength had indeed far exceeded his expectations. It was no wonder that she was not afraid of the divine Magus Palace. Sacred Lord Green Lotus and Supremacy Seisin are both distinguished guests of the witch race. Ancestor Di Hong changed his strategy instantly. He could not offend an expert like Xing Shi, at least not now. The witch race had just started cultivating their spiritual force. As long as they were given time, they would eventually be able to produce experts who were not inferior to Xing Shi. Before Ancestor Di Hong could finish speaking, Xing Shi raised her hand and waved, interrupting him. "Taoist Hong, I'm here to take Yu Qing away. As for being a guest, we can naturally talk about it after I see her." Ancestor Di Hong was secretly angry and slightly relieved when he heard Xing Shi's words. Xing Shi had only said that she wanted to take Yu Qing away, not he. This meant that there was still room for negotiation. If Xing Shi wanted to take Ji Hui away, the witch race would not agree no matter what. There would definitely be a huge battle. Ancestor Ji knew very well what Hong was thinking. Xing Shi was so powerful, and the witch race's strength was rising. It was not a wise move to fight with an expert like Xing Shi over an outsider. However, for the sake of the witch race's reputation, they could not just do whatever Xing Shi said. "I wonder who Yu Qing and Sacred Lord are?" Ancestor Ji asked despite knowing the answer. When the experts of the witch race heard Ancestor Ji's words, they lowered their heads in shame and anger. Xing Shi had taken the disciples of the witch race away as sacrifices to the sky-suppressing pillars. Now that she was here, the witch race was not thinking about revenge, but worried that she would take Ji Hui away again. What could be more sullen and humiliating than this? Xing Shi knew what Ancestor Ji meant. She did not want to fall out with the witch race for the time being. The Gate of Destinies was about to open, and she did not want to waste any energy for anything. She did not put the witch race in her eyes, but she would definitely suffer some losses if she wanted to exterminate the witch race. Moreover, Reverend Seisin, the fourth of the Western Universe's Buddha Lord, was here. She did not know what relationship he had with the witch race. "Yu Qing is my disciple. Because of some misunderstandings with me, I want to bring her back after I come out of seclusion," Xing Shi said calmly. Ancestor Ji revealed a look of realization and said, "So that's the case. That's naturally not a problem. Xianping, go and call Yu Qing over." Xian Ping immediately walked out. Chang Xiang hurriedly said, Emperor Ancestor Ji, Yu Qing is. Ancestor Ji naturally knew what Chang Xiang wanted to say. He waved his hand and stopped Chang Xiang's words. Chang, don't interfere in other people's family matters. Sacred Lord Green Lotus is extremely powerful, so there is naturally no need for you to say anything. Chang Xiang seemed to have thought of something and did not say anything. After all, he had not seen the battle between Ning Cheng and Sacred Lord Black Yellow. He was just guessing to Ning Cheng. Moreover, he did not know how much cultivation Sacred Lord Black Yellow had left. If Ning Cheng was far from being able to defeat Sacred Lord Green Lotus, wouldn't he be leading the witch race to the abyss if he wholeheartedly helped Ning Cheng? Although Chang Xiang was willing to make a friend like Ning Cheng from the bottom of his heart, he still stood on the witch race's side when it came to the fate of the witch race. Just now, when Sacred Lord Green Lotus raised her hand, that Dao Rune aura suppressed Sha Sun. Even Dao Lord Tai Su and Ning Cheng would not be able to achieve such strength. Sacred Lord Green Lotus, Dao Friend Hong, I came to the witch race for Yu Qing. Even if Sha Sun was not Xing Shi's opponent, he had to speak up. Otherwise, if Xing Shi took Yu Qing away the moment she arrived, what else could he say? I can't touch you, Sacred Lord Green Lotus, but I can't even take Xing Shi away now? I, Sha Sun, am not as good as you, but I am also the fourth under the Western cosmos. Hearing Sha Sun's words, Ancestor Di Hong and Ancestor Ji looked at each other and fell silent. They could not wait for Sha Sun, Sacred Lord Green Lotus, and Xing Shi to fight. Xing Shi's gaze fell on Sha Sun, and she said slowly, You want to take my disciple back to be a human cauldron? Sha Sun frowned. What human cauldron? I sincerely admire Fairy Yu Qing and want to become Dao companions with her so that we can support each other. I, Sha Sun, am the fourth under the Buddha Lord. How can I do something like a human cauldron? Xing Shi did not get angry. Instead, she smiled. That's my fault, Dao friend Sha Sun. Yu Qing is my disciple. Even if you want to become Dao companions with Qing, it's not too much for me to ask about it, right? Even if you become husband and wife in the secular world, the woman has to investigate the man's current situation. Sha Sun looked at Xing Shi in confusion. What did Sacred Lord Green Lotus mean? Did she agree to let me become Dao companions with Yu Qing? Otherwise, why would she say that? Of course it's not too much. I hope Sacred Lord Green Lotus can fulfill my wish. Sha Sun instantly reacted. Xing Shi really wanted to give Yu Qing to him as a Dao companion. Xing Shi nodded. It's not impossible for you to want Yu Qing to be your Dao companion. I can agree. You are the fourth under the Western Buddha Lord after all. Do you want to take my disciple away empty-handed? Sha Sun was overjoyed. Sacred Lord Green Lotus clearly agreed to let him take Yu Qing away. He hurriedly stood up and cupped his fists at Xing Shi, about to give her a series of benefits. At that moment, a cold voice was heard. My Dao technique has nothing to do with yours, Sacred Lord Green Lotus, Xing Shi. You didn't teach me anything either. It's not up to others to decide whose Dao companion I want to be. Haha. Xing Shi laughed out loud. Yu Qing, do you think that you can trample me under your feet just because you reached the third step? Are you looking down on me? I'm going to make the decision today. After saying that, Xing Shi looked at Sha Sun and said, Sha Sun, since you want my disciple to be your Dao companion, let's see what you're capable of. As long as you can take her down, you can immediately enter her room and become Dao companions. As for the betrothal gift, we'll talk about it after you become Dao companions. Sha Sun was overjoyed and immediately said, Thank you, Sacred Lord Green Lotus. He could naturally see that there was something wrong with Yu Qing and Sacred Lord Green Lotus. There was no master-disciple relationship between them. However, he didn't care about this at all. He just wanted Yu Qing to be his cultivation vessel. Chapter 1499. Yu Qing stared at Xing Shi and didn't even look at Lord Seisan, who was walking over. She said in a cold tone, Xing Shi, you're more vicious than the most vicious person I've ever seen. You took me out of Jiangsha City just to make me sacrifice to the heaven-suppressing pillar for you. A shameless and vicious woman like you doesn't deserve to talk about a master-disciple relationship. She didn't get angry at all and still said calmly, "There's one thing you didn't say. I was going to turn you into a flower fertilizer. The flowers planted by a beautiful woman like you must be extremely beautiful. What kind of expression do you think your man would have if I took you into a flower and gave it to him?" Yu Qing's hands trembled in anger, but she glanced at Saisen. "Does Lord Saisen not like my disciple? Why haven't you done anything yet?" Saisen laughed and raised his hand. The prayer beads on his chest turned into 24 shadows, which faintly formed an illusory prayer bead space. At the same time, he said, "Since I, Saisen, have taken a fancy to this woman, how can I not do anything?" By this time, he already knew that Yu Qing and she weren't master and disciple, but rather had a deep hatred between them. Yu Qing clenched the green sword in her hand. She knew very well that since the witch clan had brought her here, it meant that they no longer cared about her life and death. She didn't blame the witch clan, as her strength had long stood at the peak of the witch clan. She also knew that even if she reached the third step, she was still far behind Xingxi. Even if she died, she would never become a monk's cultivation furnace or Tao companion. There was only one person in her heart. For that person, she had left behind 10 ice walls in the time wilderness and frozen to death. That person had also burned Jiangsha City to death for her. Since she couldn't bring him back to life, what was wrong with dying again? "Saisen, you're nothing. Even if Sage Buddha Chupu came, he would be the same in my eyes." A clear voice came, and then a young man in a blue robe walked into the divine Magus Palace. With just one voice, the aura of the Tao charm completely bound Seisen's 24 prayer beads, making it impossible for them to move forward. "Tao Lord Ning." Chang Xiang was originally standing, but when he saw Ning Cheng come in, his face became a little unnatural. Ning Cheng had already said that he and Yu Qing were friends, yet he did not help Yu Qing at all. Ning Cheng did not care about it at all. He and Chang Xiang just wanted something from each other. Chang Xiang was not his friend, so he was not disappointed. If Shirsan Xing or a friend like Tai Shusher were here, even if they knew that they would die, they would still help Yu Qing. "You're still here?" Yu Qing, on seeing Ning Cheng, was so excited that her hands started to tremble. When Ning Cheng appeared, she immediately knew that Ning Cheng did not die. That kind of aura could not be changed. She would never forget it. Ning Cheng walked over and spoke in a soft voice, "I'm fine." Although it was also a reincarnation, it was somewhat different from an ordinary reincarnation. "I only lost my cultivation. Otherwise, how could a mere mortal fire do anything to me?" "Wonder." Yu Qing only managed to call out these two words before she could no longer speak as she fell into Ning Cheng's arms. After she knew that Ning Cheng was Wanderer, she had already made her choice. In the sea of twilight, Wanderer carried her on his back step by step. In the endless passage of time, it was Wanderer who took her across the dusk and saw the beautiful dawn. At the edge of the cracked glacier canyon, it was Wanderer who sent her to the edge of the transmission array and then fell into the glacier. Even if she reincarnated, it was Wanderer who came back, rescued her from the fire, and replaced her to enter the fire to be burned to death. For him, she left behind 10 ice walls, to remember the kindness of a strange wanderer to her. For him, she cultivated crazily, hoping that one day she could save Wanderer again, and then wander the vast void with him. That wanderer was called Ning Cheng, and she once thought that Ning Cheng had already fallen. She regretted it more than once. When Ning Cheng found her in Jiangsha City, she still doubted him. If she could do it all over again, she would have become his woman in that Yu clan's attic. Now that she saw him standing in front of her again, what regrets did Yu Qing have? What did Yu Qing, have to hesitate? She feared that she could not stay by Wanderer's side forever. Yu Qing. Ning Cheng felt the surging excitement of Yu Qing in his arms. He felt that even if he died immediately, he would have no regrets. Something flowed in his heart. A woman who could return to the time wilderness for a stranger like him and then leave behind 10 ice walls, what kind of pure heart did she have? For you. Sha Sun glared at Ning Cheng. If it weren't for Ning Cheng's strength, suppressing his Buddha beads with his imposing aura, he would have already attacked. Xing Shi also stood up. She did not speak and kept staring at Ning Cheng. When Sha Sun asked, she spoke up, "This person's name is Ning Cheng. He has always coveted my disciple, but I didn't expect him to come here today. I originally wanted to marry my disciple to Reverend Sha Sun, but this person obviously wants to destroy the friendship between me and Buddhist Master Chu Pu." "Xing Shi, you're shameless." Yu Qing felt Sha Sun's killing intent, and she immediately remembered what she and Ning Cheng were facing. Like Ji He, she also knew about Xing Shi's strength. This was a woman so powerful that it made people feel desperate. She had just stepped into the third step and was far from being Xing Shi's opponent. "Even if I'm shameless, it's still better than a woman hugging a man in public and asking for sex." Xing Shi sneered. She didn't even have half a sacred master's demeanor. Ning Cheng patted Yu Qing's shoulder, motioning her not to be too angry. He then looked at Xing Shi and said, "Presumably, you should have refined that primordial chaos Dao charm, right? Do you think that you can be arrogant in front of me after refining the primordial chaos Dao charm and stepping into the convergence realm? I could cut you in half back then, and I can do it now." Xing Shi said in a calm voice, "Indeed, I chased you until you had nowhere to run and had to flee to Jiaoliang Mountain. Today, I can still chase you until you have nowhere to run. Oh, by the way, I'm afraid you won't have a chance to escape today. The Divine Magus Palace is one of the 3 supreme treasures of the witch race. Now that you've entered the Divine Magus Palace, do you still want to leave?" Xing Shi didn't seem afraid of Ning Cheng at all. In fact, she hadn't expected that Ning Cheng would refine the primordial chaos Dao charm no slower than her. Xing Shi had originally thought that she had taken more than 100,000 years to integrate the primordial chaos Dao charm, which was considered very fast. The reason she had come to the witch race as soon as she had integrated the primordial chaos Dao charm was that she was afraid that Ning Cheng would be one step ahead of her. In the end, whatever she was afraid of happened. Although Ning Cheng wasn't one step ahead of her, he wasn't much slower than her. This thought flashed in Xing Shi's mind. So what if Ning Cheng had also integrated the primordial chaos Dao charm? Xing Shi had obtained a great opportunity when she had integrated the primordial chaos Dao charm, so she didn't believe that she couldn't defeat a mere Ning Cheng. Everyone in the witch race remained silent. Ancestor Di Hong only then realized that Yu Qing had such an expert behind her. If he had known that Ning Cheng had the strength to fight against Xing Shi, the witch race wouldn't have acted like a villain and handed Yu Qing over so easily. Now that Xing Shi and Ning Cheng had yet to determine the winner, even if Xing Shi brought up the matter of the Divine Magus Palace to drag the witch race down, he wouldn't say a word of nonsense. Even Ji He, who had come with Ning Cheng, kept her mouth shut. She knew that Ning Cheng was very strong, but she hadn't expected him to be strong enough to fight against Xing Shi. "You're Ning Cheng, and I'm Sha Sun, the 4th seat of the Western Universe's Buddha Lord." After hearing the conversation between Ning Cheng and Xing Shi, coupled with the fact that Ning Cheng was far stronger than him, Sha Sun wanted to use the Western Universe's Buddha Lord to regain some face. Ning Cheng's gaze shifted from Xing Shi to Sha Sun. He suddenly took a step forward and raised his hand to slap. "Is the Western Universe's Buddha Lord that amazing?" Slap, slap, slap. A few clear and unmistakable sounds rang out. Every sound that fell into everyone's ears was like a huge hammer striking their hearts. It was hair-raising. Everyone in the witch race stared at Ning Cheng. Was this person crazy? He actually dared to slap the 4th seat of the Western Universe's Buddha Lord. This was simply courting death. Even if the 5 sacred masters joined forces, they wouldn't dare to do this, right? If it weren't for her fear of the Western Universe's holy Buddha Chu Pu, how could Xing Shi be so polite to Sha Sun? Even if he could fight against Xing Shi, he wasn't qualified to provoke the Western Universe's holy Buddha Chu Pu. Sha Sun almost went crazy with anger. When had he ever been bullied like this? The 24 Buddha beads seemed to have gone crazy at this moment. They broke free from Ning Cheng's aura suppression and turned into 24 rays of Buddha light that blasted towards Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng showed a sneer at the corner of his mouth and said calmly, "Finally, it's a bit more like it. Otherwise, I would have been very disappointed." While talking, Ning Cheng raised his hand and grasped. An ice-cold space appeared and wrapped around the 24 rays of Buddha light. At the same time, Ning Qing sent out a kick, which directly landed on Sha Sun's chest. Everyone could only hear the miserable sounds of bones breaking and flesh collapsing. Sha Sun truly felt afraid this time. Ning Qing, you can't kill me. I'm the fourth venerable under the Buddha Lord. Ning Qing laughed. How many times have you said it, idiot? Even if Holy Buddha Chu Pu came to me in person, so what? I will still kill those who should be killed. While talking, Ning Qing opened his hand, and a spear intent shot out, directly nailing Sha Sun to a huge pillar in the divine Magus Palace. So what if he was under Holy Buddha Chu Pu? It wasn't the first time he killed a disciple of Holy Buddha Chu Pu. When he killed the fat monk, Ning Qing didn't feel as mellow as he did now. In just a short time, Ning Qing clearly felt that his realm had stabilized a lot compared to when he had just joined the Three Realms realm. Moreover, his attacks had become much easier. The entire divine Magus Palace turned silent. Ning Qing killing Sha Sun was already a big deal. What was even more frightening was that Ning Qing killed Sha Sun as easily as killing an ant. Even she might not be able to achieve such a realm, right? Chapter 1500. Chang Xiang sighed in his heart. He regretted it. If he had known that Ning Qing was this powerful, he would not have hesitated to stand up and help Yu Qing. Xingxi's eyebrows also jumped. She had seen Ning Qing's move the most clearly. How could Ning Qing be so powerful after fusing with the primordial Dao charm? She was sure that Ning Qing's cultivation was more stable than hers after merging with the two realms. Sure enough, those who obtained the 5 treasures of fortune were not simple. It was ridiculous that Xianhuang Gaian and Yi Ji wanted to snatch the treasures from Ning Qing and Yemo. These two wanted to raise pigs, but ended up raising themselves as pigs. Senior apprentice brother wanderer. Yu Qing reacted and looked at Ning Qing in shock. She had seen Sha Sun once. He was very powerful, and she was not his opponent. Now that Ning Qing killed this guy easily, didn't it mean that Ning Qing did not fear Xingxi at all? Ning Qing raised his hand and stopped Yu Qing. Yu Qing, just call me Ning Qing from now on. I disguised myself as Wanderer for her. Well, I'll call you Big Brother Ning. Don't call me by my name directly. It makes me feel distant. You can call me Little Qing or Qing. Okay, then I'll call you Little Qing. Well, Qing is also fine. Yu Qing had reincarnated once and was no longer the young girl who did not dare to confess her love. For her, there was only one opportunity. If she missed it, she might have to wait for the next lifetime, or maybe never again. She missed it once in Time Wilderness and a second time in Jiangsha City. Would she miss it a third time? Even if there were many people around, she would not feel shy or embarrassed. There were indeed many people in the witch race's divine Magus Palace. No one felt that Ning Qing and Yu Qing's display of affection was inappropriate or funny, nor was anyone willing to congratulate them. For the witch race's ancestor emperor and the rest, they did not care about the relationship between Ning Qing and Yu Qing, but about the upcoming disaster. The Western Universe's Buddha Lord Chu Pu's 4th Venerable Sha Sun was killed in the witch race. Even if the witch race did not participate in it, the witch race could not escape from this matter. If the one who killed Sha Sun was not powerful, it would have been better. They could have joined forces to take Ning Qing down and send him to Chu Pu. In fact, even Sacred Lord Green Lotus couldn't say anything about Ning Qing's strength, let alone the witch race. In short, the sorcerer tribe could not be offended. Since they could not afford to offend either side, the Magi were caught in a dilemma. What was even more difficult was that this Tao Lord Ning Qing had nothing to do with the witch race. In other words, after the sorcerer tribe killed Sha Sun, they could just leave and clean up after the sorcerer tribe. Since you're done showing off your love, let me, Xingxi, see how much Tao Lord Ning has improved after obtaining the primordial Tao runes. Xingxi took a step forward. A green lotus suddenly condensed under her feet, and a blood-red sword floated in front of her. Xingxi had successfully refined the primordial Tao runes and fused the realm. With the creation green lotus protecting her and the Avicii sword attacking, she indeed had enough capital to deal with anyone. Among the 5 treasures of good fortune, the Golden Page World and the mysterious yellow bead were treasures of the world's laws. They were extremely tough and difficult to break. Apart from that, it was also very helpful for its owner to cultivate and comprehend various great Taos, improving and purifying its owner's aptitude. The Good Fortune Indestructible Axe was the most offensive Dharma treasure and had the highest offensive power among the 5 treasures. The Creation Green Lotus was a Dharma treasure with both offensive and defensive capabilities, although it was not as tough as the mysterious yellow bead and the Golden Page World. Its defensive effect in battle was definitely stronger than that of the mysterious yellow bead and the Golden Page World. In addition, the Creation Green Lotus also had a powerful offensive ability. As for the Good Fortune Jade Disc, it had always been one of the most mysterious treasures. No one knew how powerful the Good Fortune Jade Disc was. This was because the Good Fortune Jade Disc had never been obtained by a second person, and its owner, Taoist Zixiao, was also a mysterious figure. After the Good Fortune War, the other 4 people who owned the 5 treasures of good fortune were either dead or injured. Their Dharma treasures were also damaged and were scattered in the vast universe. Only the Good Fortune Jade Disc and its owner were safe and sound. Ning Cheng motioned for Yu Qing to step back. Although Yu Qing had reached the 3rd step and her strength was considered outstanding in the witch tribe, it was still not enough compared to Xing Shi. Yu Qing also knew that she could not help much. She took a step back and still stared at Xing Shi's Avici sword. She knew very well how strong Xing Shi was. When Xing Shi took her to tear apart various planes, she did not think much of it. Now that she had reached the 3rd step, she knew how terrifying Xing Shi was back then. The current Xing Shi was countless times stronger than she was back then. Even though Ning Cheng had easily killed Sha Sun, she was worried that Ning Cheng could not defeat Xing Shi. Ning Cheng's gaze fell on Xing Shi's green lotus, which was still missing a petal. He did not know if Xing Shi had deliberately not repaired the petal after obtaining it or if she had not obtained it. No matter what, he had met Xing Shi today. Even if he could not kill her, he would still severely injure this woman. With a wave of his hand, the Creation Divine Spear fell into Ning Cheng's hand. The great and violent spear intent descended, and the entire Divine Magus Palace seemed to be filled with a murderous aura. All the experts of the witch race were silent. These 2 people were fighting in the Divine Magus Palace, the most precious treasure of the witch race, but no one from the witch race dared to speak. This was the sorrow of the witch race. What shocked them even more was that Ning Cheng had casually killed Sha Sun without even using his Dharma treasure. This long spear with astonishing power should be Ning Cheng's real Dharma treasure. When the Tao runes of the 2 collided and the space began to distort, the ancestor emperor of the witch race finally could not help cupping his fists and saying, "Sacred Lord Green Lotus, Tao Lord Ning, this is where the Divine Magus Palace of the witch race is located. Please take into account that the witch race did not neglect you and move to the void outside to fight." The ancestor emperor could not help but worry. His strength was far inferior to Ning Cheng and Xing Shi, but it did not mean that his eyesight was inferior to theirs. Once the 2 of them fought, even the Divine Magus Palace would not be able to withstand their monstrous auras. After the Divine Magus Palace was destroyed, the entire witch world would face destruction next. Ancestor Emperor Hong was sure that Ning Cheng and Xing Shi were not weaker than the 5 sacred lords back then. They might even be stronger. How many realms and planes had been destroyed in the creation war back then? Even the Jiaoyang mountain had been cracked. Once the 2 of them fought with all their might, the witch world might face the danger of disintegration. The witch world indeed wanted to go out, but it had not gone out yet. Once the witch world was destroyed, the witch race would not even have a place to live. This was a small matter. If the witch world was destroyed, how many disciples of the witch race would die? Perhaps after this battle, the witch race would really be wiped out from the 5-element universe. Moreover, the unknown Tao Lord Ning and the 2nd-generation Sacred Lord Green Lotus were already so terrifying. Could the witch race leave with this bit of strength? Xing Shi acted as if she did not hear Ancestor Emperor Hong's words. The Tao runes around her became even more majestic, and the aura of the Tao runes rose continuously like raging waves. Ji Hui also understood the consequences of the 2 of them fighting here. The witch race's ancestor emperor clearly could not control experts like Ning Cheng and Xing Shi. She hurriedly walked in front of Yu Qing and pleaded softly, "Sister Qing, can you talk to your big brother?" Yu Qing understood what was going on when the ancestor emperor asked the two of them to stop fighting. She hurriedly stepped forward and shouted, "Big brother Ning, let's fight this woman after we leave the witch world." The witch race had been kind to her. Even if the witch race could not bear the pressure and pushed her out, she would not forget that it was the witch race who had taken her in. Ning Qing nodded. He did not have a good or bad impression of the witch race. This was not the chaotic void, and the heaven-earth laws were not as solid as the chaotic void. Once he and Xing Shi fought here, the witch world was likely to shatter, and billions of living beings would disappear. Ning Cheng restrained his aura, lifted Yu Qing, and stepped out of the Archmagus Palace. When Xing Shi saw Ning Cheng step into the Archmagus Palace, she also stepped out. However, she did not wait for Ning Cheng to intercept her outside the witch world. She directly lifted her hand and tore the void of the witch race's realm, stepped into the void, and disappeared. That woman escaped? Everyone in the witch race looked at the void that Xing Shi had torn apart and looked at each other. Xing Shi was one of the 5 sacred lords after all. How could she escape from Tao Lord Ning? She escaped. Yu Qing did not expect that Xing Shi, one of the 5 sacred lords, would escape without fighting. Ning Cheng did not chase after Xing Shi. He knew that Xing Shi was not afraid of him escaping. This woman was scheming. The reason why she escaped without fighting was probably because she had not completely stabilized after merging the realms. In addition, the Gate of Fortune was about to open, and she did not want to be injured before it opened. Of course, the most important thing was that after feeling her strength, she knew that she could not do anything to him. Unfortunately, the idea of severely injuring this woman had failed. Forget it, let's go to the witch race again. I have a few things to ask that ancestor Emperor Hong. No matter how much Ning Cheng wanted to kill Xing Shi, he knew that it would not be easy for him to catch up with her. Xing Shi's worries were also his worries. Xing Shi was not the only powerful opponent he faced. Witch race's ancestor Hong greets Tao Lord Ning. This was Ning Cheng's second time stepping into the witch race's territory. Ancestor Hong personally greeted him, his tone respectful and polite. He had seen Ning Cheng's strength with his own eyes. Even sacred Lord Green Lotus was afraid to escape. What right did the witch race have to offend Tao Lord Ning? Tao Lord Ning, my witch race has neglected you before. Please forgive us. Ancestor Ji also hurried to Ning Cheng to ask for forgiveness. Behind him was Chang Xiang, who looked ashamed. He had spent a lot of effort to invite Ning Cheng to the witch race as a guest. However, so many things had happened in between. He had failed to befriend Ning Cheng. He really could not find a target to scold. Ning Cheng nodded. Under Ancestor Hong's lead, he entered the witch race and sat down. Ancestor Hong, the reason why I came to the witch race, other than to meet my friend, is that I have a few things to ask you. Ning Cheng sat down and said politely with cupped fists. Hong hurriedly stood up. Tao Lord Ning is my witch race's honored guest. If you have any questions, I will tell you everything I know. If Tao Lord Ning likes me, you can just call me Tao friend. Ancestor Hong knew that Ning Cheng would not call him Tao brother, so he simply called him Tao friend. Chapter 1501. Ning Cheng didn't bother to beat around the bush and said directly, I heard that Sha Sun, the one I killed before, was the 4th under Holy Buddha Chu Pu? Ancestor Di Hong's mouth twitched. What do you mean by heard? You said it to Sha Sun several times, yet you still heard it. Now that Ning Cheng asked, he didn't dare to answer back. He still pretended to have heard it and replied politely, that's indeed the case. Sha Sun was the 4th under Holy Buddha Chu Pu. He had a very noble status in the Western universe. Oh, is Holy Buddha Chu Pu very powerful? Ning Cheng asked casually as he picked up the teacup. Ancestor Di Hong didn't care about Ning Cheng's nonchalance and said cautiously, I haven't seen Holy Buddha Chu Pu, but his strength shouldn't be any weaker than Tao Lord Ning. Ning Cheng looked at Ancestor Di Hong's expression and knew that the other party didn't really mean what he said. Perhaps in Hong's heart, his cultivation was far inferior to the Buddha Lord of the West. Ning Qing didn't care. He came here to inquire about information. Holy Buddha Chu Pu could fight against 5 elements sacred master and didn't die, which meant that he must be very powerful. He wouldn't believe it if someone said that he was far inferior to the Western Buddha Lord. In the Western universe, Holy Buddha Chu Pu is the master. I heard that 3 of the 9 venerables under him perished during the creation war, leaving only 6 venerables. Wait! Ning Qing raised his hand and interrupted Hong. Dao friend Hong, you said that 3 people died in the Great Creation War. Didn't Holy Buddha Chu Pu participate? Hong replied, when the Great Creation War started, the Buddha Lord indeed didn't participate. It's not that he didn't want to participate, but I heard that he was seriously injured and couldn't participate at all. Who could injure him? Ning Qing had already guessed what was going on, but he still asked. Hong explained with a respectful expression, before the creation Great War begins, there will be an even more terrifying war. Those who participated in that war were the most powerful powerhouses from countless planes. Among them were 5 elements sacred master, Styx River heavenly venerate, light and darkness sacred master, palace master limitless, Taoist Zixiao, and Holy Buddha Chu Pu. Taoist Zixiao also participated in that war? Ning Qing originally wanted to ask if the war started because of the world tree, but when he heard about purple clouds, he could not help but put aside his original question. Hong nodded and said, I heard that when the battle started, only Taoist Zixiao was watching from the side and didn't intervene. The other experts fought until the heavens collapsed and the earth cracked. Even the planes and universes turned into dust. In that battle, the 5 elements sacred lord had been heavily injured, and it was rumored that he had died. Sage Buddha Chu Pu was also heavily injured in that battle and almost died. After all these years, he must have recovered from his injuries. What about Sacred Master Light and Darkness, Palace Master Limitless and Heavenly Venerate Styx River? Ning Qing asked again. Hong shook his head. I'm not too sure either. According to the information passed down by the ancestors of the sorcerer tribe, these people were all severely injured. As for the outcome, I don't know. What is the purpose of this battle? The information Ning Qing got from Xin Yun was not necessarily reliable. Because of this, Ning Qing wanted to confirm it with Hong. Hong didn't answer directly but asked Ning Qing, I wonder if Tao Lord Ning has heard of the Chaos Realm? Ning Qing nodded. I've heard of the Chaos Realm, and I've even been there. Is it related to the Chaos Realm? Yes, it is indeed related to the Chaos Realm. The Chaos Realm is the core of the vast universe when it first separated. There are top-notch treasures there. When the vast universe first separated, the Chaos Realm had 4 good fortune treasures. They are the good fortune mysterious yellow bead, the good fortune indestructible axe, the good fortune golden page and the good fortune green lotus. Ning Qing interrupted Hong's words again. Dao friend Hong, good fortune is not the 4 treasures, but the 5 treasures. Hong smiled slightly. Good fortune is indeed the 5 treasures, but the good fortune jade disc already had an owner when the universe first separated. That owner is Taoist Zixiao. This Zixiao has such a great origin. Ji Hui couldn't help but exclaim. Hong seemed to be afraid that Taoist Zixiao would hear his discussion. He suddenly cupped his fists towards the void and said, the universe is divided into 5 treasures. Sacred masters run all over the sky. The West has Buddha Lord and Styx River has Xiao Tuesday. If you ask who is the master of the sky, Zixiao is the first. Ning Qing's expression changed. He had always thought that Taoist Zixiao was one of the owners of the 5 treasures. He was also one of the owners of the 5 treasures, which meant that he was on an equal footing with everyone else. Ning Qing didn't expect Taoist Zixiao to have such a great origin, even before the universe. Even if it was just a rumor, it was still a bit outrageous. Dao friend Hong, that sacred master shouldn't be referring to the 5 great sacred masters, right? Ning Qing thought that itinerant E.G. and Xianhuang Gaian might not be qualified to be included in this ballot. Hong chuckled. They aren't qualified. This sacred master refers to the 5 elements sacred master, light and darkness sacred master, and the Western Sacred Master. Without waiting for Ning Cheng to ask, Hong took the initiative to explain, the West not only has sacred Buddha Chu Pu, but also a sacred master. He is also a powerful person, but there has been no news of him since. Ning Cheng didn't need to ask anything to understand what was going on. The Western Sacred Master Chu Pu must have been a peerless powerhouse. With such a powerful existence in the West, how could they allow another sacred master to appear? Only one of the two could survive. Now that there was only one sacred master left, the outcome had already been decided. Dao friend Hong, please continue to talk about what happened in the Chaos Realm. Ning Cheng could tell that Lai Hong didn't want to talk about the grievances between Western Sacred Master and Buddhist Master. Hong nodded and added, the most precious treasure in the Chaos Realm is not the 4 treasures of creation, but a tree. Ancestral Emperor, are you talking about the Chaos Tree? Ji Hui couldn't help but ask. She had heard of the Chaos Tree too. No, this tree is called Builderwood. Back then, when the 5-element Sacred Master had obtained the World Tree, even though the 4 treasures of creation had escaped from the chaotic inner realm, he had still focused all his energy on the World Tree. It's just that the World Tree's aura is too powerful. Even with 5-element Divine Lord strength, he wasn't able to completely conceal the World Tree's aura. In the end, many experts were attracted. Did these people fight in the Chaos Inner Realm? Ning Cheng immediately thought of the creation would nail in the Chaos Inner Realm. Hong sighed and said, if we were in the Chaos Realm, the Chaos Realm would have been smashed into pieces long ago. The 5-element Divine Emperor knew that the Chaos Realm had an extremely important treasure, so he deliberately stayed away from the Chaos Realm. Although that great battle took place in the Endless Void, it destroyed too many domains and planes. I heard that the 5-element Divine Emperor couldn't defeat the enemy in the end, so he turned the World Tree in his hands into countless World Tree nails to attack the enemy. That's why both sides suffered heavy losses. Ning Cheng secretly nodded. The World Tree nails in the Chaos Inner Realm should have penetrated the Chaos Inner Realm when the 5-element Divine Emperor attacked. Thinking of this, Ning Cheng felt even more shocked. He knew how hard the Chaos Inner Realm was and how powerful its laws were. If not for the good fortune indestructible axe and the cooperation of many experts, the Chaos Inner Realm wouldn't have been able to break through. Yet, the 5-element Divine Lord's World Tree Nail could break through the Endless Void and enter the Chaos Inner Realm. How powerful was he? No wonder the World Tree Nail wasn't discovered elsewhere. Without the obstruction of the Chaos Inner Realm, the World Tree Nail might have already passed through the Endless Void and the universe. Who knew where it would end up? After that battle, the vast universe fell silent. Later on, the 5 great sacred masters and the 10 great Tao Lords rose. Hong fell silent after speaking. How many hot-blooded battles had taken place in the vast universe? How many experts had fought over them? However, there was no sign of the witch race. So, the first time the Gate of Good Fortune opened was after the rise of the 5 great sacred masters and the 10 great Tao Lords? Ning Cheng asked. He finally understood why no supreme-level experts like the Western Buddha Lord had come when the Gate of Good Fortune had opened. Hong replied, yes. Rumor has it that after the 5 treasures of good fortune were gathered, the Gate of Good Fortune would open. The 5-element Divine Lord obtained the World Tree and the other 4 treasures of good fortune escaped. In fact, it means that the Gate of Good Fortune is about to open. Ning Cheng cupped his fists towards Zhu Di Hong and said, many thanks, Dao friend Hong, for dispelling my doubts. I have one last question to ask. I wonder if Dao friend Hong knows where to enter the Western universe from? How far is it from here? Although he didn't ask Xingxi to stay, Ning Cheng still felt that he had gained a lot this time. The things that Zhu Di Hong mentioned were things that he didn't know before. These things held great significance to him. Hong suddenly stood up and bowed to Ning Cheng with cupped fists. The Western universe isn't that far from my witch race. My witch race is at the edge of the 5-element universe. If we enter from this edge with Tao Lord's speed, I estimate that we can reach the Western universe in a few decades. After saying this, Hong's expression became even more respectful. Tao Lord Ning, you know that my witch race is weak. The 4th Buddha Lord, Saisen, died in my witch race's divine Magus palace. My witch race can't explain this matter even if we have a lot of mouths. I hope that Tao Lord Ning can explain it to my witch race. Even if you leave behind a crystal ball? Ning Cheng sneered in his heart. No wonder Hong was so humble. It turned out that he was afraid of taking responsibility. It would be best if he stayed in the witch race to bear the consequences. However, Hong didn't dare to say this out loud. Therefore, he only dared to ask him to leave behind a crystal ball. Hong probably wanted him to curse the Western Buddha Lord in the crystal ball so that the witch race could get away with the crime of killing Saisen. Hong wasn't a good person. If he hadn't come in time, even if Xingxi hadn't come, Yu Qin would have been taken away by Saisen. Even if Hong wanted to protect the witch race, he still felt unhappy that Yu Qin had been thrown out to be used as a cultivation vessel. Ning Cheng stood up and said indifferently, "So to go to the Western universe, we have to pass through here." However, no one has been to the Western universe before. Dao friend Hong, you must have heard about it, right? The void at the edge of the universe isn't even as good as the chaotic void. There's no direction, so I don't think anyone will enter it. When Hong saw Ning Cheng stand up and immediately leave, he panicked. He hurriedly stepped forward and said, "If the five-element universe wants to go to the Western universe, they indeed have to pass through our witch race." Not long ago, two people passed through the witch race and escaped into the void at the edge of the universe. Oh yes, my witch race has a realm monitoring array. As he spoke, Hong waved his hand and turned into a void screen. Ning Cheng sighed. This witch race was really a cultivation genius. He didn't cultivate his spiritual force. How long had it been since he started cultivating his spiritual force? Ancestor Di Hong's spiritual force was also so powerful. Dao friend Hong, show me the image of the two people who escaped again. Ning Cheng stared at the void screen and said excitedly. The two people who escaped were very blurry, but Ning Cheng felt that one of them looked like Tsang Wei. Chapter 1502. The image was replayed once again. This time Ning Cheng could see it clearly. He was sure that it was indeed Tsang Wei. Following behind Tsang Wei was a woman, presumably Zhu Yinghua. Although Ning Cheng could not see the extent of Tsang Wei's injuries from the images, but through the images, Ning Cheng was sure that even if Tsang Wei was not injured, he would not be a match for Zhu Yinghua. Tsang Wei chose to enter the Western universe, not by accident, but because Zhu Yinghua had forced him into a corner and forced him to flee to the Western universe. After understanding this, Ning Cheng didn't want to delay any longer. He cupped his fists towards Ancestor Di Hong and said, "Dao friend Hong, I'm going to the Western cosmos now. May I ask if Dao friend Hong has the void positional ball to the Western cosmos?" "You want to go to the Western cosmos?" Hong looked at Ning Cheng in shock. Not only did he kill Sha Sun, but he also wanted to go to the Western cosmos. Did he want to die? Before Ning Cheng escaped, he had intended to give him an excuse to let the Wu tribe get rid of the crime of killing Sha Sun. As long as he humbled himself, then with Ning Cheng's strength, he would definitely not let others take the blame for him killing Sha Sun. Unexpectedly, not only did Ning Cheng not escape, but he also went to the Western cosmos. Only after a while did Ancestor Di Hong wake up. He quickly took out a crystal ball and handed it to Ning Cheng. "Dao Lord Ning, this is the void positional map to the Western cosmos. One more thing, if the witch tribe from the Western universe comes to question Sha Sun," Ning Cheng waved his hand, "Dao friend Hong, if they come looking for you, just say that I killed Sha Sun." The sorcerer race's monitoring array also had this kind of method. Ning Cheng guessed that the scene of him killing Sha Sun was also recorded by the sorcerer race. However, because his Taoist rhymes were strong, the image was a little blurry. Other than that, the sorcerer tribe wanted him to admit it personally. They were afraid that once the sorcerer tribe revealed his identity, he would seek revenge on the sorcerer tribe in the future. Even if Hong didn't warn him in advance, Ning Cheng wouldn't have come to take revenge on the sorcerer tribe. Since he had killed Sha Sun, he wasn't afraid that the Western Buddhist Lord would come looking for him. "Many thanks, Dao Lord Ning." Hong finally felt relieved when he heard Ning Cheng's promise. Ning Cheng spoke to Yu Qin, "Little Qin, Wait for me in the witch clan. I'll be fine. Although Ning Cheng had never met Holy Buddha Chu Pu, he could roughly guess that this Buddha Lord wasn't someone simple. Once they went over, it was very likely that there would be a huge battle. If he wanted to take Yu Qing with him, then he would have to leave Yu Qing in the mysterious yellow bead. Otherwise, he wouldn't be of much help. Yu Qing shook her head and did not speak. No words could express her firmness. Now that she met Ning Cheng again, even if the west faced a mountain of blades or a sea of fire, as long as Ning Cheng went, she would go with him. Looking at Yu Qing's appearance, Ning Cheng knew that it would be useless to try and persuade her again. Since that was the case, then he might as well take Yu Qing with him. Without any hesitation, he grabbed Yu Qing's hand and said, "Then let's go together. Fellow Taoist Hong, farewell." Saying that, Ning Cheng took a step forward and disappeared with Yu Qing. This person is so strong. Ancestor Di Hong only spoke in a low voice after Ning Cheng's aura completely disappeared. Ancestor Ji looked at Chang Xiang. "Chang, since he's such an expert, why didn't you send a message back first?" Everyone understood what Ancestor Ji meant. If they sent the message first, the witch tribe would only need to hesitate a little bit before handing over Yu Qing. Then they would most likely become friends with Ning Cheng. In fact, the sorcerer tribe did not hesitate to hand over Yu Qing. Almost as soon as Xing mentioned Yu Qing, he immediately handed her over. Chang Xiang sighed. "I know that he's very powerful and can even repair a realm and build a reincarnation passage. I heard that the mysterious yellow bead is with him and that the mysterious yellow Gaian is not his opponent." Ancestor Di Hong snorted. "Since you know that he's so powerful, why are you still hesitating?" Chang Xiang said helplessly, "After all, I didn't see it with my own eyes. That Dao Lord Ning looks very young. Moreover, I was blocked by Xian Ping on the way to bring Dao Lord Ning to see the Ancestor Emperor, which delayed me for some time. Then, Sacred Lord Green Lotus came and displayed her powerful strength. That made me a little uncertain." Everyone fell silent. They couldn't say that Chang Xiang was wrong. Sacred Lord Green Lotus could crush Sha Sun's strength. If they were in Ning Cheng's shoes, they probably wouldn't help him either. The witch tribe was currently weak. If they weren't careful, they would be annihilated. "Big brother, carry me. This speed is too slow." After leaving the witch tribe, Yu Qing, who was beside Ning Cheng, couldn't help but say this. She knew that even though Ning Cheng was carrying her, it still severely limited his speed. Ning Cheng didn't hesitate. It wasn't the first time he carried Yu Qing. Yu Qing, who was lying on Ning Cheng's back, suddenly felt happy. She blew on the back of Ning Cheng's neck and spoke, "Big brother Ning, do you know where we had our first intimate contact? Was it in the Sea of Twilight?" Ning Cheng immediately thought of the scene in the Sea of Twilight. At that time, he had to carry Yu Qing on his back for a few years. Yu Qing whispered in Ning Cheng's ear, "The first time was in that cabinet. Do you remember the room of Orchid Burrow's Celestial River's imperial concubine Wang?" Ning Cheng suddenly understood, "So that woman was you?" At that time, he and Jing Wuming had gone to imperial concubine Xian Yu's room at her invitation. Unexpectedly, Orchid Burrow's Celestial River King suddenly came back. Jing Wuming hid under imperial concubine Xian Yu's bed. He didn't want to get under the bed and ended up hiding in the cabinet. At that time, there was a woman in the cabinet. He still remembered that when Orchid Burrow's Celestial River King and imperial concubine Xian Yu were intimate, the chest of that woman on his back had turned hard. If not for his concealment cultivation method, he might have been exposed. He had been wondering who that woman was, but he didn't expect it to be Yu Qing. At that time, Yu Qing changed her name to Shen Qingyu and planned to head to the Time Wilderness. Thinking of this, Ning Cheng's heart started to heat up. "I originally planned to team up with you in the Time Wilderness. However, due to a freak combination of factors, I ended up teaming up with Wanderer. I really did not think that Wanderer would turn out to be you. I think that the heavens definitely wanted us to be together." Yu Qing's voice was soft and weak. She could also feel the strangeness in Ning Cheng. "Big brother Ning? What I regret the most is that I did not give myself to you in that loft. If you want, we can now." He raised his hand and grabbed the void crystal ball. Sweeping out with his spiritual consciousness, he directly tore open the void positional plane in front of him and escaped inside. After we find Big Brother Tsang Wei. Tsang Wei was currently being chased by that woman, Zhu Yinghua. Moreover, he did not know what would happen to him. As such, he did not have the time or the mind to do anything else. Yu Qing's voice was almost inaudible. No matter how shy she was, she couldn't stop her love for Wanderer. Because she had enough of that kind of parting, she would rather stay on Ning Cheng's back than let Ning Cheng send her into a worldly weapon. Ning Cheng tore open one positional plane after another, and every step he took, he had to cross several void boundaries or positional plane obstacles. Ancestor Di Hong of the Witch race believed that Ning Cheng would need decades to reach the Western universe from the Witch race, but that was already an exaggeration. In his opinion, Ning Cheng would need at least 100 or 200 years to reach the Western universe. However, he still underestimated Ning Cheng's strength. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness could easily penetrate several positional planes. In just a few months, Ning Cheng tore open a universe's boundary and appeared in a vast universe. Is this the Western universe? Yu Qing, who was behind Ning Cheng, scanned the surrounding space with her spiritual consciousness in amazement. Ning Cheng nodded with affirmation, "This must be the Western universe." The void around here is filled with a heaven and earth law that I have never seen before. I'm sure that Tao Lord Karma has a close relationship with the Western universe. Ning Cheng had seen Tao Lord Karma before and had even felt Tao Lord Karma's attack. Big Brother, are you saying that the Western universe also cultivates the Tao of Karma? Yu Qing asked. I don't think so. I guess that Tao Lord Karma's Tao of Karma is a branch of the Western universe's cultivation method. Ning Cheng hesitated before speaking. Ning Cheng wasn't talking nonsense. The Western Buddha master had a great reputation and was definitely not a simple person. Ning Cheng had also seen the Tao of Karma before. With his strength, Tao Lord Karma's Tao of Karma couldn't affect him. If the Western Buddha beads only cultivated the Tao of Karma, how could they have the strength to fight against Sacred Master 5 elements? Let's find someone to ask first. After Ning Cheng finished speaking, he tore open another void boundary and landed on a verdant planet with Yu Qing. This planet also had a star-protecting Grand Array, but after Ning Cheng stepped into the star-protecting Grand Array, the array formation didn't react at all. It was because the level of this star-protecting Grand Array was too low compared to Ning Cheng's Tao of array formations. So many monks. Yu Qing exclaimed after following Ning Cheng to the planet. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness also swept out and found that there were indeed many monks. Almost 80% of the cultivators here were monks and nuns, and a few of them were dressed in strange costumes. Ning Cheng and Yu Qing dressed normally. It wasn't that there weren't any of them here, but there were very few of them. Let's go to the Shirtong Buddhist country in front of us. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness had already swept through the planet. Apart from the various temples and holy nunneries, there were only various Buddhist countries. Among them, the Shirtong Buddhist country was the largest. The Shirtong Buddhist country's defensive array was even stronger than the planet's defensive array. The 4 giant words Shirtong Buddhist country, wrapped in Tao charm, floated outside the defensive array. The Western universe was so vast that if he wanted to find Tsang Wei, he couldn't rely on his spiritual consciousness. Chapter 1503. There was no one guarding the entrance to the Shirtong Buddhist Kingdom's array gate, but there was a huge incense burner with smoke lingering around it. Ning Cheng and Yu Qing stepped through the array gate and entered the Shirtong Buddhist Kingdom. They immediately felt a powerful power of hope aura. Ning Cheng sighed in his heart. This was truly a good place to cultivate the power of hope. Actually, this is a city. After the two entered the Buddhist kingdom, Yu Qing whispered to Ning Cheng. Yu Qing was right. Rather than calling this place a country, it would be better to call it a city. There were rest stops, merchant houses, and makeshift markets in the city. Ning Cheng and Yu Qing only glanced at a few merchant houses and understood that the most popular thing here was not medicinal pills, but incense. With Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness, He could easily tell that these were all kinds of incense used for cultivation. Not only did they contain all kinds of precious heavenly treasures, but they also contained the aura of various laws of heaven and earth. In fact, this incense had the same effect as medicinal pills, which only assisted in cultivation. "This Tao friend, please wait a moment." A sudden voice sounded. When Ning Cheng saw the person quickly pass him and catch up with a nun in front of him, he understood that this person wasn't calling him. "I thought they would call me Buddhist friend." The longer Yu Qing and Ning Cheng stayed together, the more carefree she felt. Even her speech had changed a little from before. Ning Cheng showed a slight smile. "When they leave the Western universe, they also call me Dao friend." Whether it was Sha Sun or the fat monk, they all addressed each other as Dao friends. Even if they were Buddhist cultivators, they were still a part of the great Tao of heaven and earth. The one who caught up was a well-built monk. The nun who was being chased stopped in her tracks. Ning Cheng couldn't help but sigh. This nun was so beautiful. She had a plump chest and a snow-white skin. As if to set off her figure, this nun deliberately wore a slightly tight-fitting robe. "Excuse me, is senior apprentice brother calling me?" The nun stopped and looked at the strong monk with a smile. The strong monk grinned. "Yes, the Shi Tong Buddhist kingdom is looking for the best woman." Before the strong monk could finish, the beautiful nun spoke up in surprise. "Are they going to select women to participate in this time's Venerable Joy Buddhist banquet?" "So you already know." The strong monk quickly responded. The beautiful nun spoke with a yearning expression. "I've admired Venerable Joy Buddhist banquet for a long time, but I don't know if I have the chance to be selected. If I can get Revered Joy's favor." Towards the end, his tone was so agitated that he didn't even know what to say. "You'll always have a chance if you go. Let's go, I'll take you to register." The sturdy monk said immediately. He was obviously very optimistic about this charming nun with a plump chest and buttocks. Ning Cheng finally understood that Venerable Joyous Joy was going to hold a Buddhist banquet, and many women wanted to attend Venerable Joyous Joy's Buddhist banquet. This nun came to Shi Tong Buddhist Kingdom to try her luck. She probably hadn't even registered yet, but someone had already taken the initiative to approach her. Yu Qing also understood what was going on. She spat. "None of these Western monks are good." Ning Cheng just smiled and did not speak. This kind of thing was something that both parties were willing to do. There was no such thing as good or bad. It was unknown whether it was because of Yu Qing's spit that attracted the monk's attention, or because of some other reason. The monk turned his head. When he saw Yu Qing standing beside Ning Cheng, his face suddenly showed a pleasantly surprised expression as he gave out an S sound. This woman was too beautiful, too perfect. The reason why he didn't notice it before was because the woman's clothes weren't eye-catching. But now that he looked back, he was pleasantly surprised. This nun was not bad, but compared to Yu Qing, it was like the difference between a chicken and a phoenix. "This is the registration jade card. You can take it directly to the Great Hall of Desire to register." Seeing this, the monk took out a jade card and stuffed it into the nun's hand. He then quickly took a few steps back and arrived in front of Ning Cheng and Yu Qing before cupping his fists and saying, "Two Dao friends, please take your time." Ning Cheng didn't wait for the monk to speak and raised his hand to stop him. "We have no interest in Venerable Joyous Joy's Buddhist banquet. Please get out of the way." "Wait, this Dao friend, you have such a beautiful face. As long as Venerable Joyous Joy sees you, you will definitely obtain a great opportunity." The monk didn't take Ning Cheng's words to heart. He didn't want to invite Ning Cheng, but Yu Qing. Ning Cheng's face sank. "Get out of the way, otherwise don't blame me for taking action." The monk quickly cupped his fists towards Ning Cheng. "Dao friend, presumably you and this junior apprentice sister are also friends, right? I know what you're thinking. This junior apprentice sister has such a beautiful face that even Sage Buddha Chu Pu might be moved by it. Once Sage Buddha is moved, even Dao friend's future would be limitless." Originally, Ning Cheng planned to kick this monk away. A small Shi Tong Buddhist kingdom couldn't do anything to him. However, after hearing Sage Buddha Chu Pu's message, he didn't immediately take action. Seeing Ning Cheng's face turn ugly and not showing any intention of taking action, The monk seized the opportunity and said, "You too should have come to my Shirtong Buddhist kingdom not too long ago, right?" Many years ago, a woman appeared in my Western universe and gained the favor of Sage Buddha. Now, she's the #1 person under Sage Buddha. What's that woman's name? Ning Qing suddenly asked. The monk cupped his fists towards the Western universe and said with a respectful expression, "She is now my Western universe's Sage Venerable Cherry Blossom." Ning Cheng's heart skipped a beat. It really took a lot of effort. He was sure that Sage Venerable Cherry Blossom was Zhu Yinghua, but he didn't expect this woman to curry favor with Sage Buddha Chu Pu. This woman really knew how to run a business, or rather, use her capital to run a business. The men she curried favor with were each stronger than the last. At the same time, he felt deeply worried about Song Wei. Zhu Yinghua had curried favor with Sage Buddha, so it would be strange if Song Wei ended up well. How did Sage Buddha see Sage Venerable Cherry Blossom? Ning Cheng asked again. The robust monk spoke up proudly. At that time, that woman suddenly came to our Shirtong Buddhist kingdom and happened to meet Venerable Joy, who was passing by. Venerable Joy brought her back, and only then did Sage Buddha see her. Was she alone? Ning Cheng quickly asked. What alone? The robust monk didn't understand what Ning Cheng wanted to ask. Ning Cheng had to speak up directly. Did that woman come to the Shirtong Buddhist kingdom alone, or did she come with us? The robust monk shook his head. I'm not very clear about this. I only know that this junior apprentice sister's appearance is comparable to Sage Venerable Cherry Blossom. As long as Sage Buddha took a fancy to her, her future would be limitless. It's not impossible for her to become another Sage Venerable. Ning Qing knew that he couldn't get anything out of this monk's mouth. In any case, this monk only spoke about hearsay. Since Venerable Joy brought Zhu Yinghua to Sage Buddha, then the first person he wanted to find was Venerable Joy. Okay, I understand. You can step aside. Ning Cheng waved his hand at the robust monk, and a powerful Dao charm aura swept the robust monk aside. The robust monk could only watch Ning Cheng and Yu Qing walk past him in silence and didn't dare to chase after them. How could someone give up such a good opportunity to him? As long as that man introduced the woman next to him to Venerable Joy, it would be a great fortune for him. Two friends, if you don't want to be targeted by Venerable Joy, you should leave now. It's best to leave the Western universe. If you hesitate a little longer with this junior apprentice sister's appearance, I guess it would be difficult for her to leave this place. A cultivator dressed as a wanderer walked past Ning Cheng and Yu Qing and spoke up casually. Thank you, elder brother. When Yu Qing fell in love with Ning Cheng was a wanderer at that time. Ning Cheng suddenly asked, does the Western universe plunder all kinds of women for cultivation? Even Sage Buddha Chu Pu does the same? The wanderer showed a slight smile. Of course not. Only Venerable Joy, the second venerable under the Buddha, likes to dual cultivate with women. The seventh venerable under the Buddha, Venerable Jizhan, hates those who use women for dual cultivation the most. He believes that true love between a man and a woman is joy, not dual cultivation. The third venerable, Luimo, hates evil. As long as he knows about any injustice, he will definitely take care of it to the end. He also hates using women for dual cultivation to increase his cultivation. Didn't I hear that there's also a Venerable Saison? By the way, there's also a fat guy. It was rare for someone to know about the venerables under Sage Buddha Chu Pu, so Ning Cheng quickly asked. The wanderer showed a trace of disdain. You're talking about the fourth and sixth venerable, right? Among the 9 venerables under the Sage Buddha, these 2 are the most useless. The 2 of them look for women to learn from Venerable Joy. In fact, they don't have the breadth and ability of Venerable Joy at all. They just show off their beautiful women and then use them as cultivation vessels. I just heard that the Sage Buddha favors a venerable named Cherry Blossom. Have you heard of this Venerable Cherry Blossom? Ning Cheng had only casually inquired about the Western Buddha Lord's information. His main purpose was to find out Song Wei's whereabouts. The wanderer nodded slightly. I've heard about it. The Buddha Lord favors that Venerable Cherry Blossom, but it's different from Venerable Joy. It should be that Venerable Cherry Blossom truly has a Buddha nature and good perception. That's why the Buddha Lord favors her. Friend, do you know if Venerable Cherry Blossom came here with a few people or just alone? If you want to see that venerable joy, what should you do? When the wanderer heard Ning Cheng's question, his face turned a little ugly, and he stared at Ning Cheng fiercely. If you want to give your friend to venerable joy, it's better to go directly to the Great Hall of Desire. You're looking for the wrong person. After saying this, the wanderer glanced behind Ning Cheng, sped up his pace, and quickly turned into a fork. Ning Cheng understood that this fellow thought that he wanted to send Yu Qing to venerable joy to seek advancement. A few powerhouses have arrived. Yu Qing reminded Ning Cheng. Even without Yu Qing's reminder, Ning Cheng had also seen several people coming over, and the one in the lead had even reached Dao integration. With such a cultivation level, not to mention in front of Ning Cheng, it wasn't even enough for Yu Qing. Fellow Taoists, our Lord invites you. The man in the lead walked up to Ning Cheng and spoke in a careless tone. He couldn't see through Ning Cheng's strength at all. Lead the way. Ning Cheng originally wanted to find venerable joy by himself, but after thinking about it, he felt that it would be easier to go through the Lord of Shirtong Buddhist Kingdom. Chapter 1504. The man at the Tao integration realm froze slightly when he heard Ning Cheng's words. Then he nodded. Yes, come with me. With your contributions, it won't be difficult for you to reach the second step even if you obtain some opportunities. He understood Ning Cheng's thoughts and felt that Ning Cheng's choice was the best. If Ning Cheng could bring Yu Qing to meet Huanxi Venerate alone, he would naturally gain Huanxi Venerate's favor. However, since such an opportunity had appeared in the Shirtong Buddhist Kingdom, the main credit would not go to Ning Cheng, but to the Lord of the Shirtong Buddhist Kingdom. Ning Cheng's choice not only saved his life but also benefited him. Ning Cheng and Yu Qing were third-step experts, and their Tao runes had already formed their own nomological aura. Even late-stage Tao integration realm experts would find it difficult to see Ning Cheng and Yu Qing's true realm, let alone someone who had just entered the Tao integration realm. In the eyes of the Tao integration realm man, they were first-step experts. Taoist friend, I've long heard of Huanxi Venerate's name. May I know which star continent he lives in? Ning Cheng asked casually. The Tao integration realm man snorted. Don't ask what you shouldn't ask. With your realm, what can you do even if you know? Can you see Huanxi Venerate? Ning Cheng smiled faintly and didn't speak any nonsense. Even if he wanted to make a move, he had to first find out about Song Wei's movements. Moreover, he couldn't alert the enemy before doing so. If it weren't for Song Wei, Ning Cheng would have already taken out the Lord of the Shirtong Buddhist Kingdom and fought him directly. In just one incense stick worth of time, Ning Cheng and Yu Qing were taken to a gold-plated palace. The Divine Magus Palace was one of the 3 supreme treasures of the Witch clan, but compared to the palace in the Shirtong Buddhist Kingdom, it was like a straw shed. The entire palace was wrapped in extremely cold gold, and Buddha statues stood on both sides of the palace. Several thick incense sticks were burning, and a rich Buddhist aura permeated the palace. A man in a Buddhist robe sat at the top of the palace. He had a square face and a golden mask, and the aura of an expert could be seen at a glance. Taoist friends, your cultivation? The man in the Buddhist robe stood up when he saw Ning Cheng and Yu Qing. Unlike the Tao integration realm man, he could tell that Ning Cheng and Yu Qing weren't simple. He was not sure about Ning Cheng's strength, but he knew that Yu Qing was definitely not any weaker than him. Ning Cheng did not expect that a Buddhist country's sovereign would have already stepped into the third step. Even if it was a pseudo-world, it was still not a simple feat. After feeling the formidable strength of Ning Cheng and Yu Qing, the monarch wearing a Buddhist robe realized that Ning Cheng and Yu Qing had not come because they feared him, the monarch, but because of something else. He then walked down, cupped his fists and said, "May I know your names?" Ning Cheng also cupped his fists and spoke, "The king can directly address me as Ning Cheng. I passed by Shirtong Buddhist Kingdom and felt that the Buddhist Tao here is flourishing, so I came to pay a visit." Seeing that Ning Cheng didn't introduce Yu Qing, The king felt even more certain that Ning Cheng's strength was above Yu Qing's. Dao friend Ning is too polite. My Shirtong Buddhist kingdom is not eye-catching among the Buddhist kingdoms of the West. To be able to obtain fellow Taoist Ning's favor is truly a joyous matter. If fellow Taoist Ning doesn't mind, then you can just call me Shiya. In any place, the strong were respected. If Ning Cheng and Yu Qing truly hadn't taken the second step, then the king of Shirtong Buddhist kingdom would at most meet Yu Qing. If Yu Qing truly was a good person, then he would give Ning Cheng some benefits and take Yu Qing away. But now that Ning Cheng's strength was so strong that he couldn't even see through it, how could he dare to mention anything about Yu Qing? Even if Ning Cheng wanted to take Yu Qing to visit revered Joy, it would have nothing to do with him. Since the two Dao friends have come from afar, why don't we go to the guest hall together? I'm sorry for neglecting you here. Xia spoke these words to make friends with Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng smiled, many thanks, Dao friend Xia. Ning Cheng naturally wouldn't refuse the invitation of Shirtong Buddhist Kingdom's king. Xia brought Ning Cheng and Yu Qing to the guest hall and personally accompanied them. Compared to the Shirtong Buddhist Kingdom's palace, which was built entirely out of supreme mellow metal, this guest hall was truly low-key. It didn't have any Buddhist charm lingering around it, nor did it have any kind of aura of the power of hope. It was just an ordinary place for receiving guests. The guests who come here are all my, Shiya's, best friends. After Xia invited Ning Cheng and Yu Qing to sit down, he took the initiative to fill their cups with spiritual tea. Ning Cheng could tell that this was not the only guest hall of Shirtong Buddhist Kingdom's king. The reason why this king brought him and Yu Qing here was that he truly wanted to make friends with them. From the looks of it, this king couldn't see through his strength and wanted to make friends with him. Ning Cheng didn't refuse this invitation. This was the first time he had contact with Shirtong Buddhist Kingdom's king, and he didn't find this person annoying. What's more, he still had a lot of things to ask this king. Since we can sit here, we are naturally friends. I came to visit the king specifically because I have a few things to ask. Ning Cheng picked up the teacup and took a sip, implying that he wanted to make friends with Xia. Xia felt overjoyed and also picked up the teacup and took a sip before saying, Brother Ning, if you have something to ask, just say it. As long as I can help, I will definitely help. Just as Ning Cheng saw him as someone worth making friends with, he also felt that Ning Cheng was someone worth making friends with. Although he had great strength, he wasn't arrogant. Shirtong Buddhist Kingdom lacked such powerful friends the most. Moreover, Ning Cheng didn't seem to belong to the Buddhist Tao. If he could lead Ning Cheng into the Buddhist Tao, it would be even more joyous. I heard that the Holy Buddha has a new venerable cherry blossom? Ning Cheng asked directly. Xia subconsciously glanced at Yu Qing and roughly understood Ning Cheng's meaning. Ning Cheng wanted to take this woman directly to see the Holy Buddha and become the next venerable cherry blossom. Indeed, meeting the Holy Buddha directly was much better than meeting Venerable Joy. In Xiya's heart, this woman was even better than Venerable Cherry Blossom. It's just that the Holy Buddha was different from Venerable Joy. Venerable Cherry Blossom didn't become a venerable under the Holy Buddha because of her beauty. Dao friend Ning, Venerable Cherry Blossom, was originally from the Five Elements universe. She came to my Western universe for only tens of thousands of years and became a venerable by virtue of her qualifications and her understanding of the Buddhist Tao. Even in my Western universe, there aren't many of them. In the whirling great world, venerables have a higher status than venerables. Ning Cheng understood Xiya's words. That is, Venerable Cherry Blossom didn't just rely on her looks, but also on her qualifications and her understanding of the Buddhist Tao. Ning Cheng was even more satisfied with Xiya's words. This meant that Xia sincerely wanted to befriend him. Otherwise, he would have definitely said that Yu Qing's beauty would definitely attract the Holy Buddha's attention. At the same time, Ning Cheng also remembered the whirling great world. This place should be the world where Holy Buddha Chu Pu lived. So that's how it is. Did Venerable Cherry Blossom come to the Western universe alone? This was what Ning Cheng wanted to ask the most. Xia didn't think too much about it. I heard that Venerable Cherry Blossom came here to kill someone. At that time, Venerable Cherry Blossom chased him to the outside of my Shirtong Buddhist kingdom and happened to see Venerable Joy passing by. he stopped Venerable Cherry Blossom and persuaded her to put down her butcher knife and become a Buddha. Yu Qing couldn't help but say, "I think Venerable Joy took a fancy to that woman and wanted to scheme against her." She didn't believe that a monk who plundered all the women in the world would have such a good heart. Xia frowned slightly. Venerable Joy's Joyous Buddha Tao was a branch of the Buddhist Tao. What did this have to do with schemes? As a woman, who wouldn't want to comprehend the Joyous Buddha Tao with Venerable Joy? However, he didn't explain anything and continued, "Venerable Cherry Blossom was extremely disdainful at that time and lost to Venerable Joy in a fight. In the end, she was willing to follow Venerable Joy to the whirling great world to cultivate the Buddhist Dharma. After Venerable Cherry Blossom went to the whirling great world, the Holy Buddha took a fancy to her, taught her the great Tao, and became a venerable." Ningcheng thought that Song Wei had been trapped by Venerable Joy under Zhu Yinghua's request. Ningcheng didn't expect Song Wei to be saved by Venerable Joy. Since Venerable Joy could stop Zhu Yinghua, he must be very strong. "Dao friend Xia, how is the person Venerable Cherry Blossom was chasing?" Ningcheng knew that once he asked about Song Wei's whereabouts, Xia would definitely suspect him, but he had to ask, "Are the two Dao friends friends of that person?" Sure enough, as soon as Ningcheng asked, West Asia asked with suspicion. Chapter 1505. Ningcheng simply said, "Dao friend West Asia is not lying. The person being chased by Sage Venerable Cherry Blossom is most likely my friend, so I came here specifically to ask about it." Hearing that Ningcheng did not intend to curry favor with revered Joy or the sacred Buddha, West Asia felt a flash of disappointment. In other words, Ningcheng would have to leave sooner or later. Since Ningcheng would have to leave sooner or later, even if he made friends with Ningcheng, it would not be of much help to him. Fortunately, he quickly realized that this matter had nothing to do with his Shurtong Buddhist kingdom. There was no need for him to be the villain. Regardless of whether Ningcheng chose to leave or not, it was always better to have an expert as a friend rather than an opponent. Even if he reported Ningcheng's matter to Sage Venerable Cherry Blossom, it would not bring him any benefits. Furthermore, with his status, it would be very difficult for him to meet Sage Venerable Cherry Blossom. "I do know about this." West Asia sighed. "I suggest that Dao friend Ning should not ask about this matter, because this matter is being handled by the Holy Buddha." "The Holy Buddha intervened in this matter?" Ningcheng asked in confusion. According to West Asia's words, the sacred Buddha should not care about such a trivial matter. Even if Zhu Yinghua became a holy sage and asked the sacred Buddha for help, Song Wei would have already left. West Asia also understood Ningcheng's confusion and explained to Ningcheng, after Sage Venerable Cherry Blossom was stopped by Venerable Joy's people, the person chased by Sage Venerable Cherry Blossom managed to escape. What he shouldn't have done was take out a golden talisman. He probably wanted to use the golden talisman to tear open the Western universe's cosmic surface and escape Sage Venerable Cherry Blossom's pursuit. "So what?" Ningcheng asked in a puzzled manner. It was obvious that Song Wei was being chased by Zhu Yinghua. Coupled with his severe injuries, he was unable to bring out the heaven-opening talisman. Once Zhu Yinghua was stopped, he would have the time to use the heaven-opening talisman to escape from this universe. If it were him, he would do the same. West Asia shook his head. "Fellow Taoist Ning, this is the Western universe. The Western universe was the most perfect universe out of all the universes. Its Tao rune laws were complete and flawless. It was a paradise for cultivators and a holy land for Buddhists. The golden talisman used by that escaping cultivator was no small matter. It could actually tear apart the Western cosmos cosmic plane. How could the Buddhist Lord tolerate such a thing? When he took out the golden talisman, he was suppressed by Lord Buddha." Ningcheng clenched his fists. He never expected that sacred Buddha Chu Pu would suppress Song Wei in the end. Dao friend West Asia, how could Sage Buddha Chu Pu happen to see him escape with the help of the golden talisman? Ningcheng asked with some reluctance. Wasn't this too much of a coincidence? Song Wei had just brought out the heaven-opening talisman and then was discovered by Lord Buddha? West Asia smiled faintly. Tao friend naturally doesn't know about the Buddhist Lord's supreme abilities. As long as it's in this part of the universe, it would be under the control of the Buddhist Lord. Your friend wants to tear this universe apart. How can he escape the eyes of the Buddha Lord? The Buddha Lord suppressed your friend with a flip of his hand. Ning Cheng was horrified in his heart. What kind of realm was this? Controlling every movement in the universe? Although he had successfully merged his realms and fused with the primordial Tao runes to form his own nomological world, he was still unable to do it to such an extent. If Sage Buddha Chu Pu was really that powerful, then he would definitely not be a match for him. Seeing Ning Cheng's ugly expression, West Asia comforted him. Tao friend Ning, you don't have to worry. You can ask revered Joy to plead with Buddha Master. It would be like killing two birds with one stone. The Buddha Master is benevolent and will definitely let your friend go. If the Buddha Master wanted to kill your friend, he wouldn't have used such means to suppress her. How could Ning Cheng not understand West Asia's meaning? That is, he wanted him to recommend Yu Qing to revered Joy, and then ask revered Joy to plead for him. However, West Asia didn't have any malicious intentions. In his opinion, Yu Qing would have a better future if she followed revered Joy. This was killing two birds with one stone. This was entirely due to the huge difference in morality and worldview between the two. Otherwise, Ning Cheng would have already turned around and left. Tao friend West Asia, do you know where my friend is being suppressed by the Buddha Lord? Also, did the Buddha Lord take away my friend's golden talisman? Ning Cheng didn't directly answer West Asia's question but continued to ask. West Asia replied, I know that your friend is being suppressed under the whirling world's 9 ruins heavenly symbols. As for the golden talisman, I don't know about it. Ning Cheng sighed and said with some helplessness, in that case, we'll be taking our leave. Don't the two Tao friends want to go to revered Joy's great Buddha banquet? West Asia quickly asked when he saw Ning Cheng stand up. He really didn't want a perfect woman like Yu Qing to miss out on such a good opportunity. For him, if revered Joy took a fancy to him, it would be a great opportunity. Ning Cheng hesitated a little and seemed a little moved. West Asia struck the iron while it was hot and said, revered Joy's great Buddha banquet, apart from discussing Buddha, also offers top-grade Buddha fruits and various opportunities. Ning Cheng clapped his hands and said, okay, then I'll participate. By the way, can I ask Tao friend West Asia to give me a void positional ball to go to the whirling world? West Asia laughed, no need, no need. You can come with me when the time comes. Every Buddha banquet, each Buddhist country selects some women with top-grade qualifications to participate. My Shur Tong Buddhist country also has to participate. The two Tao friends just have to wait for me here for a month. Ning Cheng showed a slightly apologetic smile. We still plan to go to various places to broaden our horizons. When the time comes, let's meet at revered Joy's great Buddha banquet. Ning Cheng said this not because he couldn't wait for a month, but because he didn't want to implicate West Asia. He didn't want to go to the whirling world to participate in revered Joy's great Buddha banquet, but to save Song Wei. Once he got too close to West Asia and caused trouble in the whirling world in the future, it wouldn't be good for West Asia. All right. West Asia took out a positional ball without hesitation and handed it to Ning Cheng. At the same time, he also took out a Buddhist scripture and handed it to Ning Cheng. Tao friend Ning, this Buddhist scripture is for you. Ning Cheng thanked West Asia and left the Shur Tong Buddhist country with Yu Qing. He didn't ask West Asia about the 9 ruins heaven symbols. Since he knew about the 9 ruins heaven symbols, it would be the same if he asked someone else about it. Ning Cheng naturally understood why West Asia gave him a Buddhist scripture. These people wanted everyone to cultivate Buddhism and become disciples of Buddhist cultivators. Big brother, that Buddha master is so powerful. Does he know that we came to the Western universe? After leaving the Shur Tong Buddhist country, Yu Qing asked with some worry. Ning Cheng had been thinking about this since he heard West Asia say that Sage Buddha Chu Pu suppressed Song Wei for no reason. Sage Buddha Chu Pu knew that Song Wei had come here and even wanted to use the heaven-opening talisman to tear open the surface of the universe. It definitely wasn't because his spiritual consciousness could sweep through the entire Western universe. After all, no matter how powerful a cultivator was, they couldn't release their spiritual consciousness all the time. Unless this Western universe was Sage Buddha Chu Pu's world, just like his mysterious yellow bead had its own world of laws. Even if there was even the slightest movement inside, he would know it clearly. However, Ning Cheng quickly put aside this idea. If the Western universe was Sage Buddha Chu Pu's world, then Sage Buddha Chu Pu should have known about it the moment he came here. As long as Sage Buddha Chu Pu knew about his arrival, he would have sensed it. In fact, he hadn't sensed it yet. We don't have to worry. I'm sure that the Western universe isn't Sage Buddha Chu Pu's world. He doesn't know that we're here yet. Only by tearing the positional planes here would he be able to sense it. After thinking about it over and over again, Ning Cheng determined that Sage Buddha Chu Pu didn't know that he had come here, at least not yet. Then are we going to the whirling great world now? Yu Qing asked. Ning Cheng replied, yes, we're going to the whirling great world now. Once a battle breaks out, I will immediately send you into my mysterious yellow bead. Yu Qing nodded. In fact, as long as it wasn't a powerhouse like Sage Buddha Chu Pu, she believed that it wouldn't drag Ning Cheng down too much. Ning Cheng brought Yu Qing all the way to the whirling great world. He tried to minimize the action of tearing positional planes. Even if he tore through the void, he only tore through some boundaries. The boundaries of a universe could be torn apart at any time, and no one would pay attention to it. Once he tore open a positional plane or a universe, it would most likely attract Sage Buddha Chu Pu's attention. Ning Cheng also tried to use various teleportation arrays whenever possible. More than half a month later, Ning Cheng and Yu Qing arrived at the periphery of the whirling great world. After asking around along the way, he also came to know what the 9 ruins heaven symbol was. The 9 ruins heaven symbol was one of Sage Buddha Chu Pu's magic treasures. The 9 ruins heaven symbol had always been placed outside the whirling great world's pure paradise heaven, and Sage Buddha Chu Pu never put it away. This half of the symbol had suppressed many powerhouses. Every time the 9 ruins heaven symbol wanted to suppress someone, the person suppressed in front would disappear. The pure paradise heaven was where the Buddha Lord discussed Buddhism. The Buddha Lord's 9 Supremes and Sage Venerable Cherry Blossom's cave residences were also in the pure paradise heaven. Little Qing, you enter the mysterious yellow bead. I'll find a way to go to the whirling great world. Ning Cheng was worried that Sage Buddha Chu Pu was too strong and he wasn't his opponent. Therefore, he wanted Yu Qing to enter the mysterious yellow bead first. Before Yu Qing could respond, Sanskrit chants rang out, and a huge Buddhist chariot landed beside Ning Cheng. Then, an itinerant monk came down from the huge Buddhist chariot. This itinerant monk was dressed like an ascetic monk, and his robes looked very tattered. However, the Buddhist chariot he rode was a top-grade treasure. Ning Cheng could feel the luxurious aura coming from it from the outside. In addition, his cultivation seemed to be no lower than Sha Sun, whom Ning Cheng had killed. Are the 2 Tao friends here to participate in Venerable Joyful Joy's Buddhist banquet? Although the itinerant monk spoke, his eyes fell on Yu Qing. Apparently, he was attracted by Yu Qing's peerless beauty. It was rare to see someone with this kind of appearance and this kind of cultivation. In his opinion, since Ning Cheng brought such a stunning woman like Yu Qing to the whirling great world, he must have come to participate in Venerable Joyful Joy's Buddhist banquet. Ning Cheng cupped his fists and said, I heard that Venerable Joyful Joy is holding a Buddhist banquet, so I came with a friend. Since it's my first time participating in Venerable Joyful Joy's Buddhist banquet, I found that there was no one here to guide me. I didn't know how to enter for a while. The itinerant monk laughed. The 2 of you must have just arrived in the West. Don't worry, come with me. Chapter 1506. Although he was speaking, his eyes were fixed on Yu Qing. Apparently, he was much more interested in Yu Qing compared to Ning Cheng. West Asia's cultivation was too weak, which was why he feared Ning Cheng. His strength was many times stronger compared to West Asia. As such, Ning Cheng's cultivation was nothing in his eyes. How should I address the 2 of you? The itinerant monk took out a jade talisman. The whirling great world's defense array had already been opened. He made up his mind to take away Yu Qing. He believed that Ning Cheng and Yu Qing came here to curry favor with revered joy. His comprehension of the joyous joy Dao was not weaker than joyous joy venerable. The only weakness was that his status was not as high as joyous joy venerable. Ning Cheng's attention had always been on the whirling great world's defensive array. If he wasn't afraid of disturbing sage Buddha Chu Pu, this defensive array wouldn't be able to stop him. Now that the defense array was opened, he directly held onto Yu Qing's waist and stepped in. As soon as he entered the whirling grand world, Ning Cheng felt the condensed and powerful Buddhist Tao laws. Seeing Ning Cheng ignore him and enter the defensive array, the Buddha's expression turned ugly. He didn't believe that Ning Cheng and Yu Qing were Tao companions. Yu Qing's Tao charm was pure, which meant that she had never experienced the matters between men and women. Ning Cheng brought Yu Qing here to make friends with revered joy. Fellow Taoists, please wait a moment. I'll take you to revered joy's place. Revered joy and I. The Buddha, on seeing that Ning Cheng and Yu Qing did not have the intention to wait for him, quickly called out. There's no need. We need to pay a visit to Sage Venerable Cherry Blossom first. Sage Venerable Cherry Blossom and I are old friends. Venerable Huan Shi's Buddhist feast hasn't started yet. We'll go after it starts. After Ning Cheng said this, he disappeared with Yu Qing. The itinerant monk's face turned gloomy. When Ning Cheng mentioned Sage Venerable Cherry Blossom, he guessed that Ning Cheng and Yu Qing also came from the Five Elements universe. They should have come to hug Sage Venerable Cherry Blossom's thigh. If it was someone else, he would have stopped them long ago. But Sage Venerable Cherry Blossom was too powerful, so he didn't dare to make a move. I thought that the itinerant monk wanted to stop us. Unexpectedly, he didn't chase after us, Yu Qing said doubtfully after the two of them walked far away. Ning Cheng chuckled. I guess he's afraid of Sage Venerable Cherry Blossom and the Western universe's dual cultivation method. Dual cultivation and human cauldron were different. Dual cultivation benefited both of them, while human cauldron only benefited one of them. Since this itinerant monk and that revered joy of joy were well versed in this, they naturally wouldn't force him. Of course, if he really dares to block my way, I'll turn him into dust. Would the Holy Buddha find out? Yu Qing asked worriedly. Ning Cheng also spoke up with some doubts. According to Sacred Buddha Chu Pu's strength, after we entered the whirling grand world, Sacred Buddha should have sensed it. But up until now, there hasn't been any special divine sense sweeping over. According to what West Asia had said about how powerful the Holy Buddha was, he and Yu Qing would definitely notice them after they entered the whirling great world. In fact, up until now, he had not felt anything out of the ordinary. Originally, Ning Cheng planned to go to revered joy's place as long as the Holy Buddha kept an eye on him. He would say that he was here to participate in the Buddhist feast. Now that he did not feel anything unusual, Ning Cheng decided to save Song Wei first. Regardless of whether there was a problem or not, since Ning Cheng had come here, he would not leave empty-handed. Song Wei had helped him a lot in the past. Now that Song Wei was being suppressed by the Holy Buddha outside the pure paradise heavens, he had to help him. With Ning Cheng's speed, it only took an incense stick worth of time before he stopped. It wasn't that he didn't want to continue, but the front was once again blocked by the defensive array. This defensive array only blocked the path of the two, but it did not block the beautiful scenery inside the pure paradise heavens. Is this the pure paradise heavens? Yu Qing exclaimed. In front of them was a stretch of giant peaks vaguely visible between the blue sky and white clouds. Even without entering the defensive array, one could already feel the rich spirit qi. A vague Buddhist voice could be heard, making people feel as if their minds had been cleansed and immersed in it. It was obviously a beautiful scenery, but it also had a vast and majestic aura. All of this made people want to stay and comprehend the great Tao in this place, never wanting to leave again. At the top of the White Cloud Mountains, one could vaguely see a pagoda with a huge golden sphere at the top. It really is a good place. Even if Ning Cheng did not cultivate the Buddhist Tao, he had to praise this place for being the best place to cultivate the Buddhist Tao. This Tao friend is right. The pure paradise heavens is the best place to cultivate in the Western universe. However, without a peerless wisdom root and aptitude, it would be difficult to enter the pure paradise heavens to cultivate. The voice belonged to the itinerant monk. Ning Cheng and Yu Qing had delayed here for a while, but he had already arrived. This time, he did not stare at Yu Qing but looked at Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng cupped his fists. "This Tao friend, I and Sage Venerable Cherry Blossom are old friends, so I came to visit you. But how can I enter the pure paradise heavens?" The itinerant monk smiled slightly. "Those who are fated can enter, but those who are not can only stop here." After saying that, the itinerant monk did not stop and stepped in. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness had been paying attention to the itinerant monk's movements. After the itinerant monk stepped in, he felt some fluctuations in the surrounding defensive array. After the fluctuations, there was no obstruction, and the itinerant monk disappeared into the pure paradise heavens without any obstruction. Did this itinerant monk lie to us? Did he actually have an array entry jade talisman on him? Yu Qing asked in doubt when she saw the itinerant monk disappear. No, this array is very amazing. It's arranged according to the Tao charm laws of Buddhist cultivators, and only Buddhist cultivators can enter easily. If you're not a Buddhist cultivator, you can only enter with permission. Similarly, if you're not a Buddhist cultivator, it would be difficult for you to come out alone. Ning Cheng's array Tao was not any weaker than his cultivation. Although the defensive array was very strong, Ning Cheng still understood what was going on when the itinerant monk entered. Yu Qing fell silent. She naturally knew that if they forcibly attacked the defensive array in this place, even if she and Ning Cheng were stronger, they would still be courting death. Ning Cheng smiled slightly. "Don't worry, I have a way. Help me protect me." After Ning Cheng said that, he immediately sat cross-legged on the ground and began to comprehend and cultivate on the spot. After just an hour, a Buddhist aura surrounded Ning Cheng, accompanied by Sanskrit sounds. Yu Qing looked at the changes in Ning Cheng's Tao aura in surprise. Only now did she realize how strong Ning Cheng was. As a third-step expert, Yu Qing already vaguely understood the differences between third-step Tao confirming cultivators. Ning Cheng could comprehend the surrounding heaven and earth laws in a short time and then condense the Tao charm aura that merged with the surrounding heaven and earth laws. This meant that he definitely comprehended a top-notch great Tao when he stepped into the third step. It was likely that he condensed the laws of heaven and earth with his own body. Only such a great Tao could control the surrounding heaven and earth laws at any time and then change his own Tao charm aura. All right. Ning Cheng opened his eyes, stood up, raised his hand to hug Yu Qing, and stepped into the High Paradise's defensive array. The moment he stepped into the defensive array, Buddhist aura surrounded him, completely covering his and Yu Qing's original Tao charm aura. Sure enough, as Ning Cheng had guessed, he and Yu Qing didn't suffer any interference and easily stepped into High Paradise. What a beautiful place! Yu Qing had already felt the beautiful scenery outside High Paradise. Now that she entered High Paradise, she could feel the heaven and earth Tao here. She had such a deep comprehension even without cultivating the Buddhist Tao. What would happen if she started cultivating the Buddhist Tao here? Don't think too much about it, unless you want to become the next sacred venerable cherry blossom. Ning Cheng pulled Yu Qing's hand and sobered her up from the beautiful heaven and earth aura and scenery. Yu Qing showed a slight smile. "I'm not going to become a sacred venerable. I'll follow you wherever you go." Ning Cheng pointed to the sky. "I'm going to the Golden Avenue now." Above him and Yu Qing's head, there was a 10-foot wide Golden Avenue. The Golden Avenue looked like it was paved in the void, extending all the way to a giant tower in the distance. On both sides of the Golden Avenue, there were various Buddha statues, and the fragrance and Sanskrit sounds filled the air. It made people feel a sense of joy and comfort from the bottom of their hearts. At the same time, it also gave people an impulse to worship them. Is that the 9 ruins heaven symbol outside the giant tower? Yu Qing also saw a huge symbol at the end of the Golden Avenue. The symbol only had half of it left, and it was placed outside the giant tower. Looking up from here, it looked like half of the planet was covering the ground. Ning Cheng nodded. That must be the 9 ruins heaven symbol. If what Xia said is true, senior apprentice brother Tsang Wei should have been suppressed by this symbol. Ning Cheng was very worried that Tsang Wei had already perished. Although he and Yu Qing could only feel the beautiful scenery and the devout Buddhist Tao, Ning Cheng's cultivation was higher than Yu Qing's. Therefore, he could feel the powerful suppression hidden within. Once there was any resistance, the Buddhist Tao suppression would become even stronger. How could Song Wei not resist when he was suppressed by the 9 ruins heaven symbol? 2 Tao friends, are you here to visit Sage Venerable Cherry Blossom? Just as Ning Cheng and Yu Qing were about to step onto the Golden Avenue, a figure descended from the high paradise's clouds and appeared in front of Ning Cheng and Yu Qing. It was a monk with a delicate and pretty face. He had a smile on his face and a respectful expression, as if he had seen his most precious guest. I'm a boy under Venerable Joy revered. Venerable Ai Jia said that 2 distinguished guests had arrived, and I came to greet them. I didn't expect that both of you were fated to enter the high paradise. The delicate and pretty monk bowed and continued. Ning Cheng also cupped his fists and said, Many thanks, Venerable Joy revered. We are indeed going to see an old friend. The boy spoke up with even more joy, Please follow me. Sage Venerable Cherry Blossom is currently discussing Buddhism with Venerable Joy revered. Even if Ning Cheng wanted to deal with Zhu Yinghua, he had to save Song Wei first. Just as he was about to refuse, 2 powerful spiritual consciousnesses suddenly swept over him. Tao Lord Ning, long time no see. I didn't expect you to miss me so much that you even came to the Western universe. But why did you bring a delicate woman with you? Aren't you afraid that I'll be suspicious? While speaking, a woman in a green robe descended from the depths of the high paradise. Zhu Yinghua? Ning Cheng stared at the woman who suddenly appeared in front of him with a calm expression. Chapter 1507. This woman truly had some capital. Her waist was so slender that it could be grasped with one hand. Her figure was well proportioned, and coupled with her unparalleled charm, how was this a saint venerable? Tao friend is indeed an old friend of Sage Venerable Cherry Blossom. The itinerant monk that Ning Cheng had met previously spoke again. Behind him was a venerable with a long face and slender eyes. That venerable then said, Venerable Ai Jia is right. These 2 Tao friends are very intelligent, especially this female benefactor. She's a rare sight. Why don't the 2 of you come to my place and discuss Buddhism and Taoism? Ning Cheng guessed that this venerable should be Venerable Joy. Looking at his Tao rune aura, he was clearly much stronger than Venerable Sha Sun. Venerable Joy, I'm afraid you'll be disappointed this time. Tao Lord Ning didn't come here to participate in your Joy Tao Buddhist banquet. He came here to look for me, Zhu Yinghua said with a smile. She still did not know about the relationship between Ning Cheng and Song Wei. Otherwise, she would have known that Ning Cheng didn't come here for her, but for Song Wei. Venerable Joy suddenly said, So Tao Lord Ning is looking for Sage Venerable Cherry Blossom to comprehend the Joy Tao. Even so, we can also comprehend and discuss the Joy Tao together. Tao Lord Ning, Venerable Joy invited you. Why don't we go and comprehend together? Zhu Yinghua said with a smile. She didn't have the resentment that she had when she wanted to tear Ning Cheng into pieces. Ning Cheng said faintly, Zhu Yinghua, I have no interest in a black ass like you. But with your ability, it's a waste not to be a brothel keeper. You came to the whirling great world from the 7 shrines. It's just that I've either killed or injured a few of your lovers. By the way, aren't you afraid that Qin Mutian will settle the score with you for coming here with Venerable Joy? As soon as Ning Cheng said that, Zhu Yinghua understood what he meant. She was a convergence realm expert, but Ning Cheng had insulted her in such a manner. No matter how patient she was, she couldn't bear it. Sage Venerable Cherry Blossom, this is... Venerable Aga asked in confusion as he sensed Zhu Yinghua's Taoist aura churning and her condensing killing intent. Venerable Ai Jia, Venerable Joyful Joy, this person came here specifically to deal with me. Venerable Joyful Joy, please step aside. After I deal with this person, I will discuss the Tao with you. Zhu Yinghua wanted to pull Venerable Joyful Joy and Ai Jia in to prevent Ning Cheng from escaping. She was very clear about Ning Cheng's strength. Although she believed that she did not fear Ning Cheng, it would still be good to have another helper. It was just that Ning Cheng's words were too vicious, which provoked her anger. Venerable Joy frowned slightly. Sage Venerable Cherry Blossom, this is the high paradise heavens. We can't fight here. Ning Cheng also took the initiative to speak up. What Revered Joy said is right. We came here to understand the essence of Western Buddhism and also to pay a visit to Sage Buddha Chu Pu. Please introduce me to the Holy Buddha, Revered Joy. As soon as Ning Cheng said those words, Zhu Yinghua understood Ning Cheng's meaning. He wanted to inquire about the sacred Buddha. Without waiting for Zhu Yinghua to remind Venerable Joy took the initiative to speak up. Dao friends, you came at a bad time. The Holy Buddha is not in the high paradise heavens recently. Ning Cheng felt overjoyed. He did not come here to fight with Sage Buddha Chu Pu. He came here to save Song Wei and kill Zhu Yinghua. As for the fight with Sage Buddha Chu Pu, it would have to wait until the gate of good fortune opened. In that case, I will take a trip to this Grand Dao and understand the Western Buddhism. Ning Cheng said. Killing Zhu Yinghua would come after saving Song Wei. Venerable Joy smiled. 2 Dao friends, please. This Buddhist path is a place to wash away the troubles of the mortal world and focus on seeking enlightenment from Buddha. I believe that after the 2 of you walk through this Buddhist path, your understanding of Buddhism will reach a new level. So this Golden Grand Dao was the Buddhist path. After Ning Cheng cupped his fists towards Venerable Joy, he pulled Yu Qing and stepped onto the Buddhist path. Venerable Joy, I suspect that this person came here not only to find me, but also to save the person suppressed by the Buddha Lord. Seeing Ning Cheng and Yu Qing walk onto the Buddhist path, Zhu Yinghua did not continue to attack Ning Cheng. Her previous anger only lasted for a moment before she calmed down. Exalted Joy smiled. What Exalted Cherry Blossom said makes sense. However, if this fellow Taoist Ning can really walk the path of Buddhism and save someone from the 9 ruins heavenly symbols, then our high paradise heaven will have another exalted. Zhu Yinghua also smiled but did not speak. She believed that Ning Cheng could walk on the Buddhist path. Venerable Joy said this because he had not seen Ning Cheng's power. The reason why she did not stop him was because she knew that it would be difficult for her to stop Ning Cheng by herself. After Ning Cheng dealt with the 9 ruined sky symbols and saved the person, many high paradise heavens venerables, including Venerable Joy, would help her. At that time, no matter how powerful Ning Cheng was, he would not be able to walk out of the high paradise heavens. As soon as Ning Cheng and Yu Qing stepped onto the Buddhist path, rolling Buddhist chants swept towards them. Following the Buddhist chants were Buddhist Tao auras. On this Buddhist path, there was no need to comprehend at all. All kinds of Buddhist Tao auras would be engraved in one's mind. The powerful Buddhist aura wrapped around Ning Cheng and Yu Qing, and a boundless pressure came crashing down. With every step they took, the pressure increased exponentially. After just a few dozen steps, Yu Qing's face turned faintly golden, and her body trembled. Big brother, I can't hold on any longer. This Buddhist path. If not for her strong desire to leave this place with Ning Cheng, Yu Qing would have already sat on the Buddhist path to comprehend the supreme Buddhist aura. As long as she comprehended the Buddhist Tao aura, the boundless crushing force would suddenly weaken. So strong. Ning Cheng also praised in his heart. He did not let Yu Qing enter the mysterious yellow bead. Such a place would be extremely beneficial for Yu Qing's cultivation. Similarly, Ning Cheng would not waste time on the Buddhist path to resist the Tao aura. When Yu Qing could not hold on any longer, Ning Cheng brought out the Creation Divine Spear. Boom boom boom. The Creation Divine Spear's spear intent tore through space, and the continuous Tao aura exploded in the void. The Buddhist laws on the Golden Buddhist path broke apart inch by inch, and layers of black holes appeared in the void. It was as if someone had suddenly pulled out a few layers from the middle of a wall, making it clear and distinct. Ning Cheng immediately used the Spear Tao Spirit technique, Traceless Collapse. Swish, swish, swish. The endless laws on the Golden Buddhist path were swept away by the broken void, forming a clattering sound of the Tao aura colliding with the void. Ning Cheng, along with Yu Qing, had already crossed through the layers of broken Golden Buddhist path. Taking a few steps through the void, they arrived in front of the huge Buddhist pagoda. Behind them, the broken golden Buddhist path continued to collapse. Venerable Joy looked at the layers of broken golden Buddhist path in shock and muttered to himself, "Who the hell is he? How can he tear the golden Buddhist path apart?" Tuchuo Ijia, who stood next to Venerable Joy, was even more shocked. Ning Cheng's cultivation was good, but he did not put Ning Cheng in his eyes at all. In his opinion, Ning Cheng, who cultivated a false world, could not even withstand a single blow. But now, Ning Cheng's spear tore through the void of the golden Buddhist path. It was simply heaven-defying. One had to know that the power of the laws on this Buddhist path was almost the same as that of the Western cosmos. At least he could not tear it apart. Compared to Ning Cheng, he felt that the difference was too big. Only Zhu Yinghua sneered. If Ning Cheng did not have this ability, then she would have already started a long time ago. Why would she really delay here? Sage Venerable Cherry Blossom, who exactly is he? Joy Venerable took a deep breath, regained his composure, and asked solemnly. Zhu Yinghua calmly replied, "This person's name is Ning Cheng, the owner of the good fortune mysterious yellow bead in the Five Elements universe. Their strength is unparalleled. I reckon that apart from the Buddhist Lord, we wouldn't be a match for them in a one-on-one battle. Do you know why he was so polite before? That's because he's afraid that Lord Buddha is in the pure land of bliss. That's why he's tolerating it. No wonder. So this person is one of the 5 great Saint Lords." Reverend Joy's body was surrounded by Buddhist charms. He then said to Zhu Yinghua seriously, "Sage Reverend Cherry Blossom, let's activate our Buddhist charms together. This person destroyed our Western Buddhist road. We definitely can't let him leave." That was what Zhu Yinghua had been waiting for. She was indeed talented in the Buddhist Tao, but she had no interest in cultivating it. The reason why he chose to stay here, in addition to fearing Ning Cheng, was because he wanted to find a big backer. Now that Ning Cheng had walked right into the trap, it would be strange if she was polite. "Okay, I will definitely do my best." After Zhu Yinghua said this, countless figures emerged from the depths of the white clouds in paradise. After Ning Cheng broke the golden light Buddhist road, the experts of paradise sensed it and almost all of them moved out. At this moment, Ning Cheng and Yu Qing were already standing in front of the 9-ruined sky symbol. The 9-ruined sky symbol had a majestic aura, and one's spiritual consciousness could not penetrate it at all. There was no way to know if there was anyone sealed inside. "Big Brother Ning, how do we open this symbol?" Yu Qing knew at a glance that this symbol could not be opened in a short time, and they did not have the time to open it. Not only did the symbol have a majestic aura, but the restrictions around it were also very complicated. Not to mention opening the symbol, even opening the restrictions around it would not be possible in a short time. By the time they opened the restrictions, they would probably be trapped by the experts of paradise. Ning Cheng grabbed a handful of array flags and handed them to Yu Qing. "Just set up the auxiliary array flags behind the main array flags." As he spoke, several main array flags fell from Ning Cheng's hands. Yu Qing only needed to use the auxiliary array flags to stabilize the main array flag. She did not even need to know what kind of grand array Ning Cheng arranged. In just a few breaths, Yu Qing understood what kind of grand array Ning Cheng arranged. It was a planetary teleportation array. No, this grand array seemed to be much more powerful than a planetary teleportation array. Yu Qing's guess was right. The grand array Ning Cheng arranged was based on the planetary teleportation array. With his current strength, even if he didn't arrange a grand array, he could easily take away a planet. What he arranged was a planar teleportation grand array. No matter how powerful this 9-ruined sky symbol was, it would eventually be teleported away under the planar teleportation. It did not matter if he could not open this 9-ruined sky symbol. He could directly move it into his mysterious yellow bead. After leaving this place, he could slowly refine this 9-ruined sky symbol. At this moment, several venerables arrived and simultaneously brought out their weapons to attack Ning Cheng and Yu Qing. Ning Cheng looked back and cast another traceless sky collapse. Then, regardless of anything else, he continued to arrange the planar teleportation. Roars of Dao rhymes continuously rang out behind Ning Cheng. Several powerful Dao lights fell on Ning Cheng's back, but Ning Cheng's protective domain blocked them. When Ning Cheng put down the last main array flag, the grand array closed, and the void around him trembled. At this moment, a gentle voice sounded, "Dao friend Ning, you just arrived and want to take away my treasures. Isn't it a bit too overbearing? Since you're already here, you might as well listen to some Buddhist scriptures. It would also help to dispel some of your hostility." With this voice, a golden handprint stretched out from the void. The place where the golden handprint passed through, the Buddha road that Ning Cheng blasted open automatically repaired itself. Almost in an instant, it returned to its original appearance. Then, the golden handprint grabbed at Ning Cheng's back. Chapter 1508. Ka. Ning Cheng's protective barrier, which could block several Buddha lights, directly shattered. Almost at the same time that the powerful handprint grabbed Ning Cheng's back, Ning Cheng's hands brought out a monstrous Dao charm power and sent the 9 ruins heaven symbols into the mysterious yellow bead. Bang! The Dao charm around Ning Cheng's body shattered under the grasp of the handprint, and the bones in his back cracked. Feeling the chaos in Ning Cheng's Dao charm, Yuqing quickly helped Ning Cheng up. Ning Cheng wiped the blood from the corners of his mouth and patted Yuqing's shoulder. "I'm fine. I'll take you to the mysterious yellow bead first." "All right." Yuqing did not hesitate for even half a moment. Although that handprint had exploded towards Ning Cheng, but that powerful oppressive force made it difficult for her to breathe. She was sure that Lord Buddha had arrived. Chu Pu Saint Buddha had yet to arrive, but the aura emitted from a mere hand sign was already so terrifying. Once the Buddhist Lord arrived, how could she be of any help? "You don't have to worry about it. This fellow is indeed very strong, but I am not afraid of him." Ning Cheng comforted Yuqing, before sending Yuqing into the mysterious yellow bead. The reason why Ning Cheng wasn't afraid of sacred Buddha Chu Pu was because he knew that even if he wasn't sacred Buddha Chu Pu's opponent, he wouldn't be unable to escape. He wasn't someone that Song Wei and sage Buddha Chu Pu could suppress at will. Don't look at sage Buddha Chu Pu's hands seal injuring him. That's because he didn't fight back at all. Instead, he tried his best to save Song Wei. "Welcome, Lord Buddha." Before Buddha Chu Pu even arrived, his palm had already arrived. The people who were originally prepared to besiege Ning City, at this moment, were all chanting in unison. With the arrival of the sacred Buddha, there was no need for them to act against Ning Cheng. In all the universes, no one could escape from the hands of the holy Buddha. However, some people still felt shocked. Although the Buddhist Lord's handprint was separated by the void, it did not cause any substantial damage to Ning Cheng. It even allowed Ning Cheng to take away the 9 ruins heaven symbols. From this, it could be seen just how powerful Ning Cheng was. But Ning Cheng didn't leave immediately. Instead, as the Dao charm flowed around his body, the injuries disappeared without a trace. Since the Western Holy Buddha had returned, he wouldn't let him leave so easily. Moreover, he also wanted to see how strong the Western Holy Buddha was. "Fellow Taoist, you're indeed very capable. You're actually able to remain unscathed under my void palm imprint and even take away my 9 ruins heavenly symbols." A deep and resounding voice followed a muscular man as he landed not far away from Ning City. The man wore a holy crown on his head and looked extremely kind. There was a string of prayer beads in his hand, and it seemed as though there were countless of them. "You are Saint Buddha Chu Pu?" Just as Ning Cheng asked this question, the majestic Dao charm of the Buddhist Dao laws came crashing down. This kind of law felt as if it wanted to turn his Dao charm and the space around him into nothingness. Instead of retreating, Ning Cheng moved forward. After taking a step forward, the law Dao charm around him blasted out. The explosion of Dao charm Ning Cheng had imagined did not appear. Instead, the Dao charm Ning Cheng blasted out felt as if it had hit a ball of cotton and disappeared without a trace. This person is really strong, Ning Cheng thought in his heart. He hadn't met any powerhouses after merging with the realms. However, Ning Cheng felt sure that even if Qin Mutian came, he could still deal with him. But standing in front of sage Buddha Chu Pu, he actually felt a sense of helplessness. That's right, I am Chu Pu. I've been to the five elements cosmos once, and I've heard that there are a few rising stars there. Of course you're not that woman called Xing Shi. Are you Emo or Ning Cheng? I think you're called Ning Cheng? Sage Buddha Chu Pu's tone was warm and relaxed. It was as though hearing his words, he would naturally relax. Ning Cheng didn't relax at all. If Sage Buddha Chu Pu was simple, he wouldn't be able to live freely after killing 5 elements, Sacred Lord. That's right. Ning Cheng's answer was very simple. Then he just stood there quietly as though waiting for Sage Buddha Chu Pu's next words. Sage Buddha Chu Pu smiled. You're not simple to be able to use a formation to take my 9 ruins heaven symbol into the abstruse yellow bead under my void hand seal. It's just that the evil chi around you is too heavy, and you need the Buddhist Tao to resolve it. How about becoming a saint venerable under me? If Sage Buddha Chu Pu said that before Ning Cheng took away the 9 ruins heaven symbol, no one would understand at all. Now that Sage Buddha Chu Pu wanted Ning Cheng to become a saint venerable under him, no one would think it was inappropriate. Ning Cheng said calmly, "Nothing." Sage Buddha Chu Pu didn't feel annoyed at all and said gently, "It doesn't matter. You will understand it after you comprehend the Buddhist Tao in the pure paradise heaven for a while." Ning Cheng chuckled. So, Sage Buddha wants to force me to stay? Do you think that because I didn't stop you just now, I don't have the qualifications to make you stay? You should know that I only used a void hand seal just now. Before my void hand seal could catch you, I still had to repair the damaged Buddhist road. Of course, it's not bad for you to take away the 9 ruins heaven symbol before my void hand seal could catch you. Sage Buddha Chu Pu didn't care at all. Ning Cheng's heart skipped a beat. When he calculated Sage Buddha Chu Pu's strength from Sage Buddha Chu Pu's void hand seal, he didn't consider this point. One had to know that Sage Buddha Chu Pu only managed to catch his protective realm domain after he repaired the damaged Buddhist road. If he didn't repair the Buddhist road and directly grabbed his protective realm domain, what would happen? But this thought only flashed through Ning Cheng's mind. Then, Ning Cheng's will became firm again. Even if Sage Buddha Chu Pu was stronger than him, so what? When he reached Tao unification, he had fought against Xing Shi. When he was in the creation realm, he had fought against Qin Mutian. But today he, Ning Cheng, was still alive and well. The good fortune divine spear in Ning Cheng's hand erupted with spear intent and merged with the protective realm Tao charm aura around him. The spatial aura around him grew even stronger. I have one thing to ask Sage Buddha. My friend still has an opening heaven talisman. I don't know if you have this talisman? Ning Cheng knew the importance of the opening heaven talisman to Tsang Wei. Similarly, if it weren't for Tsang Wei's opening heaven talisman, he wouldn't have been able to return to Earth and take away Ruolin. Sage Buddha Chu Pu showed a slight smile. I never covet other people's things. This opening heaven talisman is not fated with me, so I naturally won't take it away. Ning Cheng secretly admired Sage Buddha Chu Pu. Although he and Sage Buddha Chu Pu stood on different sides, Sage Buddha Chu Pu's bearing wasn't something ordinary people could compare to. As for Sage Buddha Chu Pu's words, Ning Cheng never doubted it. Such a powerhouse wouldn't lie about such things. Ning Cheng glanced at Zhu Yinghua and pointed the good fortune divine spear at her. In that case, let me experience the Western universe's Sage Buddha's Buddhist Tao spirit technique. If he didn't defeat Sage Buddha Chu Pu today, it would be impossible for him to find trouble with Zhu Yinghua. With Sage Buddha's power, it would be difficult for him to defeat him easily. In any case, today's battle was inevitable. Apart from Qin Mutian, this Western universe's Sage Buddha might be the strongest opponent he had ever met. Sage Buddha Chu Pu nodded and slowly stepped forward in the void. He said calmly, "If there's a flower in the void, I'll pick it up." Then, with the Buddha beads hanging on one hand, he raised the 2 fingers of his other hand into the void. Ning Cheng stood in the middle of these 2 fingers and felt the laws around him dissipate crazily. It didn't shatter, nor was it squeezed away. Instead, it naturally disappeared. At this moment, only 2 fingers appeared in this space. He was the only person in this space, and the Tao charm around him had also been crushed into nothingness by these 2 fingers. Perhaps in just a breath, or even half a breath, he would be pinched in the middle of these two fingers and turn into nothingness like the dissipating laws of the void. So powerful? Ning Cheng anxiously shouted, "There's no flower, what the hell are you pinching?" As Ning Cheng's voice fell, the space pinched by the two fingers seemed to loosen slightly. Ning Cheng's good fortune divine spear had already come out. Time's third stage realm. Rolling time blasted out, just like the Yangtze River flowing backwards. The disappearing law space suddenly gained an aura of the laws of time. However, as time continued to roll, billions of years passed in a blink of an eye. With the presence of laws, a flaw appeared in the void space. Boom. Only at this moment did the Tao charm collide. The Buddha charm exploded, and the Tao charm roared. A bright light appeared in front of Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng rushed out without hesitation, burning his Tao charm before blasting out with a finger. It was the order-breaking finger. Others couldn't blast open the High Paradise's laws, but it didn't mean that he couldn't. Ka. A gap appeared, and Ning Cheng's entire body disappeared from the gap. Ning Cheng felt very strange in his heart. In fact, after knocking away Sage Buddha's two fingers pinching the flower, he used the order-breaking finger to blast open the High Paradise's protective array domain. He didn't intend to escape from this blasted domain. He intended to wait for Sage Buddha Chu Pu to block his way, and then teleport to the entrance to escape. In his opinion, it would be extremely easy for Sage Buddha Chu Pu to block his way. But what puzzled him was that after he blasted out the time's third stage realm, Sage Buddha Chu Pu seemed to have his acupoints sealed and froze in place. Even after Ning Cheng left for a long time, Sage Buddha Chu Pu still muttered to himself, "There's no flower, what the hell are you pinching?" He didn't think that Ning Cheng was talking nonsense. If Ning Cheng was talking nonsense, Ning Cheng wouldn't have used his Tao charm to hit the space between his two fingers while he was speaking, causing a flaw in the space between his two fingers. Chapter 1509. I'm going into seclusion to comprehend the Buddhist Tao. 100 years later, I'll discuss Buddhism on the Buddhist path. After Ning Cheng walked for a long time, Sage Buddha Chu Pu suddenly spoke up. After saying this, his figure faded and soon disappeared without a trace. "My Buddha is merciful." After Sage Buddha Chu Pu disappeared, the Buddha who came with Ning Cheng clasped his palms together and said respectfully. Ning Cheng was indeed powerful, but compared to the Holy Buddha, he was still too far away. The only reason why Ning Cheng could leave the pure paradise heavens was because of the Holy Buddha's mercy. Zhu Yinghua sneered. Ning Cheng and the sacred Buddha had only fought for a short time, but she could see that Ning Cheng wasn't the sacred Buddha's opponent. However, it was unlikely for the Holy Buddha to make Ning Cheng stay. It was precisely because the sage Buddha knew this that he didn't do anything pointless. More importantly, the sacred Buddha comprehended a new realm from Ning Cheng's words. Compared to chasing after Ning Cheng, the sacred Buddha longed for this new realm even more. Therefore, the sacred Buddha chose to go into seclusion. 100 years later, when the sage Buddha came out of seclusion to talk about Buddhism, his realm would definitely increase by another level. In the void outside the whirling grand world, Ning Cheng and Yu Qing sat on the starry sky wheel. Ning Cheng knew that the sacred Buddha did not chase after him, so he simply let Yu Qing come out. "I knew that the sacred Buddha would not be able to stop you. Let's not stay in this place, there are monks everywhere in this place." Yu Qing, on seeing that Ning Cheng was not injured, felt particularly happy. Ning Cheng sighed and spoke, "He did not chase me because I said something wrong." "What did you say?" Yu Qing asked curiously. "Chu Pu's divine art is flower pinching with two fingers, void space. At that time, I felt a flaw in the Tao runes and said, 'There are no flowers to begin with, so why are you picking them? It's nothing.'" Yu Qing was far from reaching Sage Buddha Chu Pu's level and couldn't understand Ning Cheng's words at all. Ning Cheng gave a serious explanation. "A friend once asked me, 'What is the great Tao? What does it mean to have a great Tao?' I told him that there were 3 stages to the Tao. The first stage was to see a mountain as a mountain, and to see water as water. The second level was to look at the mountain but not the mountain, and to look at the water but not the water. The third level, the mountain is still a mountain, the water is still water. When Yuqing heard Ning Cheng's words, she seemed to have understood something and immediately asked, "Big brother, you mean that the sacred Buddha was still stuck at the second level, and you reminded him to enter the third level?" Ning Cheng shook his head and said, "In my opinion, sage Buddha Chu Pu had already stepped into the third stage realm. It's just that he didn't manage to integrate his spirit techniques with the Buddhist Tao. It's probably because he hasn't fought much recently or because he didn't have an opponent. In the end, he only exchanged one move with me and he realized it." Seeing that Yuqing was still puzzled, Ning Cheng once again spoke up, "I once heard such a sentence, Bodhi originally did not have a tree, a bright mirror also did not have a platform. Originally there was not a single thing, where did the dust come from?" Saint Buddha Chu Pu cultivated the flower-pinching divine art, which allowed him to conjure a flower in the void. In reality, the flower didn't exist at all. This was the realm of seeing a mountain but not a mountain. This was not because sage Buddha Chu Pu's great Tao was only at the second level, but because there was a gap between his Tao and his divine art. It's a pity that I said something wrong at that time. I actually said, originally there were no flowers. This sentence caused some flaws in sage Buddha Chu Pu's flower-pinching divine art, allowing me to rush out. However, the reason why sage Buddha Chu Pu didn't chase after me was because he had obtained more things. With sage Buddha Chu Pu's understanding and perception of the Buddhist Tao, he would only need less than 100 years to perfect the true flower-pinching divine art. At that time, he would no longer be able to pinch flowers, but anything. Ning Cheng felt quite depressed in his heart. Although he took away sage Buddha Chu Pu's 9 ruins heaven symbols, he felt that the gains did not make up for the losses. Sage Buddha Chu Pu was already so powerful, so what if his divine art reached a higher level? Big brother, so what if sage Buddha Chu Pu is powerful? Doesn't he still want to comprehend the great spirit technique from your words? Since you can help him comprehend it, why would you be afraid of this monk? Yuqing saw Ning Cheng's depression and took the initiative to persuade him. Ning Cheng suddenly felt enlightened in his heart. If he could enlighten sage Buddha Chu Pu with a single sentence, why would he be afraid of sage Buddha Chu Pu? "Ah Ching, you're right." Ning Cheng laughed and reached out to hug Yuqing. The depression in his heart disappeared. Yuqing was right. His words could help sage Buddha Chu Pu comprehend a new Buddhist Tao. Why would he fear Chu Pu? Besides, with a powerhouse like sage Buddha Chu Pu, even if he didn't comprehend it today, he would eventually understand it. Seeing that Ning Cheng no longer felt depressed, Yuqing asked, "Big brother, what realm is sage Buddha Chu Pu in? How could he be so powerful?" Ning Cheng pondered for a moment before speaking. The Buddhist Tao and Tao rhymes around him are complex. I don't have a deep understanding of the Buddhist Tao, so it's hard for me to see his strength clearly. I guess that he might be half-step into the good fortune realm. If I hadn't heard that one can't enter the good fortune realm if the gate of good fortune doesn't open, I would have suspected that he was already a good fortune realm powerhouse. 100 years later, sage Buddha Chu Pu would definitely reach a higher level. How could he not fall behind too much in such a short time? Otherwise, when the gate of good fortune opened, how could he have a share? The first time the gate of good fortune opened, sage Buddha Chu Pu couldn't participate because of heavy injuries. Although Yuqing comforted Ning Cheng, she still felt worried about Ning Cheng. Instead, Ning Cheng comforted Yuqing, "Sage Buddha Chu Pu isn't much stronger than me. If we met in the 5 elements universe, maybe he would still be the one to escape. The Western universe follows the Buddhist Tao laws. If I fought him in a place like the pure paradise heavens, I wouldn't have the geographical advantage. Moreover, the power of his void handprint wouldn't have increased by much even if he didn't repair the Golden Light Buddha Road. That Golden Light Buddha Road is a condensation of his Tao rhymes. He can restore it with just a stomp of his foot. It doesn't consume any magic power to repair it. I didn't understand it at the time." With the starry sky wheel under Chasing Bull's control, Ning Cheng and Yuqing once again appeared in the mysterious yellow bead. In an empty space in the mysterious yellow bead, the 9 ruins heaven symbols were surrounded by many array flags. It looked like half a planet placed in the middle. Will Big Brother Tsang Wei be inside? Yu Qing felt a little worried. She felt afraid that Ning Cheng would be disappointed. Ning Cheng shook his head. I don't know. If Tsang Wei isn't inside then... He didn't continue. If Tsang Wei wasn't inside, then there was a high chance that he had fallen. Ning Cheng removed the restrictions around the mysterious yellow bead one by one. Even if Sage Buddha Chu Pu had arranged restrictions around the 9 ruins heaven symbols, it couldn't stop Ning Cheng. In just half an hour, Ning Cheng removed the restrictions around the 9 ruins heaven symbols. Ning Cheng then started refining the 9 ruins heaven symbols. The mysterious yellow bead was Ning Cheng's world. Even if Sage Buddha Chu Pu grew stronger, he couldn't interfere with Ning Cheng's mysterious yellow bead. In just 3 days, Ning Cheng refined the 9 ruins heaven symbols. Under Ning Cheng's hand techniques, it turned into a half-foot-long golden symbols. The golden symbols were empty. Not to mention Tsang Wei, there wasn't even a strand of hair. Did West Asia deceive us? Yu Qing immediately suspected that West Asia said that Tsang Wei was trapped inside the 9 ruins heaven symbols. Although Ning Cheng refined the 9 ruins heaven symbols, there was nothing inside. Ning Cheng shook his head. West Asia wouldn't lie to us. It doesn't mean anything to him. I can feel a trace of senior apprentice brother Tsang Wei's Dao charm in this 9 ruins heaven symbols, which means that Tsang Wei was indeed suppressed here. Now that senior apprentice brother Tsang Wei isn't here, other than being turned into nothingness by the 9 ruins heaven symbols, he must have escaped. Yu Qing looked at Ning Cheng in doubt. If Tsang Wei had escaped somewhere else, she might have believed it. But where was this place? It was the weapon of Western Buddha Lord Sage Buddha Chu Pu, the 9 ruins heaven symbols. If Tsang Wei escaped, how could Sage Buddha Chu Pu not know about it? Ning Cheng couldn't be sure, but the possibility of Tsang Wei dying was the highest. Tsang Wei also had a chance to escape because he had the heaven opening talisman. Back then, with his strength, he could have used the heaven opening talisman's child talisman to tear through positional planes and return to Earth. How strong would Tsang Wei be after he recovered his strength? With such formidable strength, coupled with the heaven opening talisman, it was possible for him to escape. Let's go. Let's return to the 5 elements universe first. Ning Cheng left the mysterious yellow bead with Yu Qing. The gate of good fortune was about to open. As long as Tsang Wei was all right, he would definitely go to the gate of good fortune when it opened. As for now, the most important thing for him was to go back and find ways to improve his strength. It wasn't just for Sage Buddha Chu Pu. There was also Sacred Master 5 Elements, whom everyone thought had fallen. Who had actually seen Sacred Master 5 Elements fall? Apart from Sacred Master 5 Elements, what about Palace Master Limitless, Heavenly Venerate Styx River, Sacred Master Light and Darkness? Not to mention all of them, as long as one of them survived, they would be a huge threat when competing for the Gate of Good Fortune in the future. What's more, there was also a mysterious powerhouse, Taoist Purple Firmament. This person possessed the Good Fortune Jade Disc, and his cultivation was even more unfathomable. He had once said, Tao is not Tao and humans are not humans. How torturous it is to pity us. Ning Cheng still couldn't figure out what it meant. A year later, Ning Cheng and Yu Qing passed through the witch world again. Before Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness swept into the witch world, the witch race's ancestor, Di Hong, had already come out with a group of people. Before they arrived, Hong cupped his fists and greeted them from afar. Tao Lord Ning, it's really a blessing for my race to pass by our witch race again. This witch race really has some skills. They must have seen us a long time ago. Yu Qing transmitted her voice to Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng had long guessed that the witch race had hidden surveillance. It was just that he was focused on his journey, so he didn't notice it. This was also normal. The witch race was weak, so they naturally had to pay attention to people passing through the witch world. I thought that Tao Lord Ning had gone to the Western universe and was looking forward to your return. I didn't expect to see Tao Lord Ning here. As Hong spoke, he arrived in front of Ning Cheng and Yu Qing with his people. Ning Cheng said calmly, I just came back from the Western universe and passed by here. Tao Lord Ning, you've been to the Western universe? Hearing Ning Cheng's words, Hong couldn't remain calm. Ning Cheng killed Sha Sun and went to the Western universe. How could he come back safely? Could it be? Hong wondered if Sage Buddha Chu Pu didn't know that Ning Cheng had killed the fourth Sha Sun. If he knew, Ning Cheng definitely wouldn't have come back. Ning Cheng seemed to know what Hong was thinking. He waved his hand and said, "You're overthinking it. Sage Buddha Chu Pu not only knows that I killed Sha Sun, but he also probably knows that I killed the sixth Sha Sun under him. At that time I fought with him. In his territory, I really wasn't his opponent." Ning Cheng didn't think that Sage Buddha Chu Pu didn't know that he had killed the fourth and sixth Sha Sun. It's just that Sage Buddha Chu Pu hadn't had the time to settle accounts with him. Or rather, Sage Buddha Chu Pu didn't have the ability to settle accounts with him. Hong sucked in a breath of cold air. Ning Cheng said that he wasn't Sage Buddha Chu Pu's opponent, but his attitude showed that he didn't take Sage Buddha Chu Pu seriously. Moreover, after fighting with Sage Buddha Chu Pu and coming out unscathed, just how strong was he? "Since we met again, I have something to ask Dao friend Hong." Ning Cheng cupped his fists. "You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure."